I can have everyone turn your cell phones to vibrate, please.
Oh, yeah. Okay, notice is hereby given that a regular meeting, sorry, did you start recording?
Yes.
Please. All right, notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas will be held on Thursday, January 23rd, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas, where a quorum of the City Council will be present. All agenda items are subject to action. You could join us at the Zoom meeting found in the agenda. The public will be permitted to offer public comments in person, telephonically, or by audio as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with the city secretary at least 15 minutes in advance of the meeting, if providing comments in person, and at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting by emailing the city secretary or by calling 210-607-0834. An audio recording will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with the Texas Public Information Act upon written request. Madam Secretary, may I have a call to order and a quorum call, please?
Yes, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado.
Here.
Alderwoman Madero.
Here.
Alderman Tremblay.
Here.
Alderman Bowinger. Absent.
Absent.
Alderman Rapino.
Here.
City Attorney's here and City Secretary is also present.
Time is now 6:33. We are in session. Sorry. Okay. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Amen. Amen. Citizens to be heard. Persons wishing to speak may sign up with the city secretary in the time and manner as indicated above. At this time, we do have 2 citizens signed up to speak. Mr. Lamar McNeil, it is now 6:34. You have the time. You have the floor.
I asked the secretary, my wife couldn't make it, she's recovering from cancer surgery, I don't know if I could get her time or not. I had some thank yous I wanted to give to after I got through my thing. Were you able to pull that PowerPoint up, ma'am?
Yes, we have it.
Yeah, okay.
We have the notes.
Okay,
we have the
alright, great.
picture.
Oh, and the, yeah.
Yeah, we have them.
Yeah, we
too.
have it.
Alright. So I just wrote it down so it'd be easier for me to just kind of read it off, so. Honorable Mayor, City Council members, Chief Wars, good evening, my name is Lamar McNeil. I'm a fellow resident of Sandy Oaks. I was raised 100 miles south of here. I joined the Navy in 1990 and finally got back to Texas when me and my wife moved to 23326 Copper Canyon Drive in December of 2003 after retiring from the Navy after 20 years and working an additional 13 years at U.S. Central Command in Florida. I'm going to go ahead and skip to the thing so I don't kill y'all's time. I've got the thank yous in there I'd like to give. Specifically, the one that I had was for the first responders coming out and helping my wife where she had a medical emergency after her cancer surgery on January 8th. She called 911 and Sandy Oaks was there. The Bexar County Fire Department was there. They were down on the spot and got her in an ambulance and up to Brooks. Okay. All right, so moving on to the issue at hand that I believe requires attention. It concerns code and ordinance enforcement. I noted in the October 24th minutes that there was a discussion for action on code enforcement for residential lots, but quote unquote, after a lengthy discussion, it was decided no action was needed. I'm here today to request the city revisit this issue and the code enforcement for residential lots be documented as a formal agenda item for the next city council meeting. I'm also formally requesting city council to assist me with an issue I'm currently dealing with for ordinance violations related to illegal dumping of rubbish, construction material, storage of trailers, junked cars, and RVs. This situation has created a significant eyesore and poses potential safety and health risks in our neighborhood. The property at 23322 Copper Canyon Drive has become a growing issue. Over the past couple of months, a lot has been filled with an increasing amount of junk, including junk car, RVs, rubbish from a demolished house to include wood, sheetrock, tile, metal, plastic, paper, along with an unregistered 18-wheeler trailer, a dilapidated outbuilding with no roof, mattresses, and other unsightly materials. What was once a vacant lot is now an eyesore, visible from the road and from our property when we step outside. This is not just an aesthetic issue, it's beginning to impact our quality of life, and it's embarrassing to think of the money we paid to move here only to live next door to a dump site. This also poses a health and safety concern. The clutter will attract vermin such as rats, mice, raccoons, not to mention scorpions, mold, termites, which will further exacerbate the risk to our health and well-being. Beyond the health concerns, the state of the property will affect property values in our neighborhood. As you know, the appearance of properties in our community directly impacts its overall value, and the current state of this lot is likely contributing to decreasing values surrounding homes, including mine. I also want to highlight there's no permanent resident or mailbox on this property, but there is a dilapidated RV mobile home with no wheels on it, not hooked up to electric or septic. My research revealed the property doesn't show any tax history on the Bexar County website. Despite all this, someone has been steadily moving junk onto the lot for months, creating an even bigger problem. Yesterday, I stopped by City Hall and spoke with a member of the police department. He indicated that although he stopped, examined the property, and confirmed he noted all the dumping and junk I mentioned, that he was unable to determine who the property owner is and would require City Council assistance to remedy this issue. He said his hands are tied without the City Council's help. I provided him with pictures of everything I could see from my property, to include the license plate of the 18-wheeler trailer, in hopes this will assist in finding the owner. For all these reasons, I'm respectfully requesting the assistance of the City Council in addressing this ordinance and code violation at 23322 Copper Canyon Drive. I'm asking for your support to start enforcing city and county codes and ordinances to bring this property into compliance with our community standards. And as previously stated, respectfully request City Council revisit the October agenda item and add code and ordinance enforcement for residential lots be documented as a formal agenda item for next City Council meeting. I believe these actions will help restore the safety, appearance, and health of our neighborhood. Thank you again for your time and consideration. And if allowed, I'd like to do my thank yous, if that's okay.
Sure.
I was going to start off at the beginning. I just know we've got a crunch for time. So I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude and offer some recognition to those who are working hard to make our community a better place. First, thank you to the police and fire department for the quick and professional response to my wife's medical emergency on January 8th. She had complications from cancer surgery and required immediate care and was transported via ambulance to Brook Army Medical Center. First responder showed up immediately after her calling 911. Excuse me. Your prompt action made all the difference, and we're grateful for your support. My wife's doing better and continues to heal. Thank you for your dedication. Secondly, I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude to City Council and the Public Works team for their efforts in installing the stop signs on New Mathis Road. This improvement is greatly appreciated and will help slow down speeders and ensure the safety of the community. Thank you for working to make our town a safer place. An additional thank you to the police department, even while being severely undermanned, for their ongoing efforts to increase patrols and address speeding issues, particularly on New Mathis Road and Copper Canyon Drive. Your dedication to ensuring the safety of our community is truly valued, especially with the efforts to stop the dangerous racing and speeding that we see on an almost daily and nightly basis. Thank you for your commitment to keeping our roads safe. Lastly, thank you to the Animal Control Service team for their hard work in rounding up the multitude of strays and also looking out for the well-being of pets during the recent winter storms by ensuring that pet owners were taking the necessary steps to keep their pets safe and warm. Their dedication to the welfare of animals in our community is greatly appreciated. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McNeil. All right, moving right along. Mr. Crickmer, you are next. You have the floor. It's 6:41.
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, thank you for allowing me to speak. My concern is the addition at the end of Waterwood Pass. The road, heavy equipment going through, destroying our roads. We know that's an expensive option to fix the roads and keep them updated. Something needs to be done with the developer. Something needs to be done with San Antonio. Maybe we could have an ordinance with no through trucks allowed, put up a few signs, get a little bit of leverage that way. I know that on Lamb Road, since the city of San Antonio annexed that, it's turned into a dumping ground. There's concrete, truck tires, stolen mail, bags of garbage, and all that kind of good stuff. So I think rather than the city of San Antonio having us over a barrel, we need to have a little bit more forward action on our parts because it affects us. And somebody's making money, you know, capitalism, but we will lose. We will not be making any money, especially if we have to give San Antonio the property tax revenue that the new addition will gain. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kirkland. All right, moving right along. Mayor Administrator announcements and updates. Financial report questions from December. Do you have any updates on that from
Yes,
Steve?
on the 7425, we haven't gotten a response on that from Mr. Johnson, but on that $1,050, that one went to the A+ septic for cleaning out the septic, the community center, the animal control deals back their septic and
Their
ours,
septic
so
and
the
ours.
city hall, so.
Okay. Okay.
Was that the December report or the January report that had that one?
That was the December report.
But the report that you gave in January for December?
Yes, for December, yes.
Okay, so we're still waiting on an
On
answer
the 74.
on the November report that you gave in December?
Yeah, right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Delma, which one did you want to pull?
Actually, both of them, but I'm gonna go over them, I went over the Robert's rules of it, and hopefully we can cut it down really short. Sorry about that.
Okay, so we will,
And Mayor, if I could have a moment to read E, because it wasn't included in the email package, but I see it's in this package right here, and I'd like to get that included if
Oh, the
possible.
13.
So if you just give, if you don't mind a moment to review it before we vote on the consent
the
agenda.
invoice? Did you say E?
E, yes.
It wasn't?
No, the other ones were, but I didn't see E in the email that.
Which one's this
package.
one?
There were 3 other ones, but this one I didn't see in there.
Okay, that's fine. Sorry about that.
I just didn't want to read it while
No, no, no.
citizens speaking.
You're good, you're good.
All right, sir, thank you.
If there is no discussion,
I would make a motion, sir, that we approve the consent agenda, items C through G.
One comment, if you would. On item C, the item, dollar amount, 38148 should read
Well, then can I amend my
3818.
message to approve item D through G, and then we can discuss C?
Okay.
I'll amend my motion then, sir, to approve items D through G on the consent agenda.
A second.
okay, so the motion is to approve items D through G. First by Councilwoman Madero and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, thank you. Let's go ahead and discuss C.
In Mayor.
You're right.
And
Let's
members,
see.
the dollar amount should read 3818.48
Yep. transposed.
versus 38148. So it's just a correction on the amount.
Right. 3818.48. Okay.
So I'll move to make that correction and approve item C.
Okay, I got a motion from Alderman Tremblay to correct the amount stated to 3818.48, and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right,
All those opposed, thank you. All right, moving right along. Discuss and or possible, discuss and or possible action on amending the personnel policy manual. I am working on that. I've reached out to ADP, so we're begin the process of getting an estimate to rewrite it and take what we have and convert it over. So, as I progress on that, we'll continually give updates.
So we're
So
postponed?
For right now, that'll be postponed.
do we have a cost estimate? You're
That's-
outsourcing
that's what
it,
we're trying
so
to-
did they give us a price, a
Not
cost?
yet.
No cost.
Yeah. Not yet, but I'll have that. I should have that for the next meeting, what's gonna cost us. Okay. So that'll be postponed. We'll move to B, discuss under possible action on quote for electricity to run to the Animal Control Metal Building to include anti-shadow lighting, surge protected plugs, multiple outlets, and outlets for refrigerators. So we do have three quotes here, one from BAM Electric, one from Alterman Electric, and one from Quinny Electric, all hovering around the same amount, with Alterman Electric being the low-cost leader. If I can find that number.
Mayor, can I ask what exactly we asked these individuals to quote us? Because all three of these quotes, although similar in price, are vastly different in what they're providing. There's no,
If I may, if we could get Public Works, because I believe she was involved in getting the quotes, and I think Alterman actually just described the whole scope of work, whereas the others are just telling, the end line. Alterman is actually going step by step with each item that they're going to install. I think that the bottom line is they're going to install a number of switches, lights, and panels.
And I think it's just a lack of, on the behalf of Quinny and BAM, a lack of detail.
Yeah, and
So-
being that Alterman has the detail and the scope of work, I would move that we accept Alterman's quote.
I'll go along with that.
Yeah, I concur because we can hold them to this.
Okay, so I do have a motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second by Mayor Pro Tem, no, you said it, right? Or did you? Oh, by Alderman Rapino to accept the quote from Alterman Electric. All those in favor, well, is there a discussion?
so yeah, I disagree that these are similar. Like this one says two GFIs, the other one says one. So I just want to make sure, does this quote, which I agree is definitely the more reliable, more detailed, is this what we need? Because they're very different. Is this the actual, does this the one from Alderman? I just like Public Works Director, since you were the one working this, have you verified that this is what we asked them to provide to us? And
Right,
this is going to
Ashley
give
was
it?
with them.
Yeah, so
Ashley
this
was
is what we
with
need.
Alderman Electric outside.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's not a bunch of extra stuff, this is what we need them to provide based on.
Based on, I believe they got with the veterinarian on what his requirements were as far as what he needed.
Okay.
And so this supports what the veterinarian
Yeah, so the
requires.
other one says one GFI, this
Right.
one says two, one says plugs in the ceiling, the other one says lights.
It's
I
tricky.
just want to make sure we're getting what we need with this quote that I think is much more professional.
This map right here came from Quinny Electric. So everything that is marked, that's a panel box, that's electric, yes.
But this is what the
This is-
veterinarian and.
This is what all
and
three of
Ashley said
them,
we need.
this is what all
Oh,
three
they all
electric
were given that
companies
one.
were given this.
And only one actually did something good. All right, then, I just wanted to confirm that because they were so different. So thank you.
Okay, so I got a motion from Alderman Tremblay and a second from Alderman Rapino to approve the electrical quote from Alterman Electric with a not to exceed of $3,026. All of those in favor say aye.
All right,
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Did that, I'm sorry, I know you stated what the motion was, but did it indicate where that funding was coming from?
From their building fund.
From the fund, okay.
It doesn't state, but that's how we're funding it. Yeah. Okay, moving right along, discuss under possible action on ordinance 2024-248 regulations on certificates of occupancy. So just to kind of tee this off, the reason why this is up here today is because Bear County no longer offers a certificate of occupancy. We did have a interlocal agreement for them to do that originally, and the last time I called them for one, they said we do not offer it, but we'll do your inspections. So it'll be based off of Bear County's approval of providing a certificate of occupancy, but we would have to sign off on it. And Bear County provides a list of why we should administer it, and a list of why we shouldn't. So that's kind of where I'm at.
So they would leave it to us.
Are we having them inspect our
Yes.
all our commercial,
Yeah, so case in point, the new therapy place here. So she called me, and then I called Bear County and said, we need this. They said no. I said, well, we have this in local agreement. They said, oh, okay, well, we'll do the inspection, and then, but you still have to issue the certificate of occupancy.
if I just to go a step further, and it's
Yep.
not so much, it should deal within the realm of a certificate of occupancy. Are they looking at panic bars as far as egress width?
Yeah,
As
so.
far as egress?
So some of the things that came up, right, is they're striping for the entire building, right? The entire is not up to, it's faded. One of the bollards that's protecting some of the lights is broken, it's leaning. The doors are not auto closed behind them. They had deadbolts higher than a normal. And so while I can understand the safety issue on that, right? You want to keep people out of the door. It prevents people from exiting if there's an emergency. So yeah, I mean, it was super thorough. And to give you a little more detail, the lady that had the inspection, I mean, I went a few times to say, okay, did you get this done, get this done, get this done? And then finally, she had everything completed. I mean, they looked at the electrical panels. They said things got to be labeled. They looked at outlets that were exposed. You know, I made sure that those were there.
So there are no more requirements for a certificate of occupancy in San Antonio either?
San Antonio does their own certificates of occupancy.
So should we be doing our own?
We can.
I mean, we're
Sure.
gonna have Bear County do an inspection,
Yeah.
but what's to say how, when a certificate of occupancy is telling how many people they can have in that space.
Right.
So based on square footage, I mean, should we be doing that research and providing a certificate of occupancy posting?
Yes, so we will provide the occupancy, but we will rely on Bear County to do the inspections. So that way, when we say, okay, by square footage, you could have this many of people, we only issue that after they've solved whatever issue is outstanding per Bear County Fire Code.
And so those requirements should all be found in a fire and safety code.
Yep.
And so who within the city, our city, is going to be responsible for doing that?
I think the point, well, I don't know what's the point, but what I'm getting at is we rely on Bear County to find the issues to fire code. And then they give it to us and say, run with it, make sure they complete them all, and then we issue their certificate of occupancy. So, does that make sense?
Because we have that agreement.
Yes.
We have them as a service.
They're doing an inspection, but who dictates the number of occupants can be? That's a certificate
Oh,
of
so you're
occupancy
okay.
dictates the number of
Yeah.
occupants you can have
That would have to
in
be
a
on
building.
us.
So the restaurant.
Yep.
The restaurant can't throw a party and have 500
500,
people
right.
in there. There's a number
Well-
for safety reasons. So who is going to do that? If the county is
It
not
has to
going to
be
do
us.
it, will the fire department, will the ESD do it?
No. No, it has to be us. So we would have to do the research to state how many people would be allowed in that building at one time. So, hate to say this out loud, but you look at any of those businesses in that shopping center, none of them have a certificate of occupancy. Because for so long, and I talked to Cassandra, I talked to Charles, was the idea was that they were doing it. But then when I called them on it, they said, no, we stopped. And then I showed them the MOU, and they said, no, that's expired. So Now the onus is on us to issue their certificate of occupancy.
So the owner of the strip mall doesn't have to do that?
Yeah, they do.
And they hadn't,
Right.
okay.
Yep.
So now we're enforcing it, that they do have it.
Right,
I
so the fire marshal went and inspected not only that business that was opening, but the entire,
Okay.
the entire building. So, when this time comes, we need to go back to the entire strip mall and say, you need to get all these things fixed.
I'm sure somewhere in the fire code is listed, there's a calculation on
Sure.
square footage.
Yeah, most
And so
definitely.
Yeah, that
we're
should
gonna
be
have,
easy.
somebody within the city, that's what I'm saying, needs
get
to
a
do
permit
that.
or something.
Should something happen and we have not issued a certificate of occupancy, what is our liability as a city?
Yeah, it's a fair question.
I'll pass that on to
Yeah.
our attorney.
Well, no, I don't think it should fall on the city, it should fall on the property owner.
Property owner.
They,
But-
they
but-
let in
but-
100 people, and, yeah, but we issued the certificate, that's what he's saying. right?
Yeah.
So we
Oh, if
issued,
this certificate is issued,
right, and we say 50, and they have 100. That issue falls on the property owner, right, or the business.
If they exceed what we tell
Correct,
them. But
exactly. But
Again,
what
my
you're
point
saying,
is
but
getting-
what he's saying is we say it's 50, but then by some code that we didn't know about, it was actually 25. Now, we've issued it for 50 and now we're liable. That's the question.
No, the question is, the question is, I understand we need to provide a certificate of occupancy for all of these commercial businesses. The issue is, when we say we're stopping there. We need to define, we need to appoint, or we
is?
need to
The
approve
building
who
inspector,
within the
per
city.
the
is-
ordinance, no, I know.
I know,
understand.
it's,
I mean,
Well-
I can certainly take it on.
it'll need to be visited. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
And actually, that was one of the recommendations, because I know it says building inspector in here, and I think we just need to sub that out for, building official. Oh, it's in here, right? I think we talked about it.
Yeah.
So
So just
buil-
a note, Mayor,
Building official, city administrator, or designee.
the copy of this ordinance that was provided to us at the last meeting was missing the second page, which is the bulk of the information. It wasn't added to the folder on the network for us to view until 3 hours ago.
So we're bringing it back to amend it,
I mean, we can.
or do it
So I
now?
haven't even read it, is my point.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't made available for
Right.
me to read until 3 hours ago.
Right. So,
So,
We
so
know we
I
need to
understand we're
amend
talking
it.
about some potential needs for amendment, and that's not an issue, but I would prefer that we make the amendments and bring it back for a first vote next time.
right,
right, because the whole issue we're supposed to be discussing is certificate of occupancy. And we're talking about safety inspections
Yeah.
by the Bear County.
Yep.
So they're basically doing safety and a fire inspection. They're
Understood.
not providing a safety or a
Yeah, I
certificate
understand
of
the point that we're
occupancy.
trying to make. I'm just asking that he not take a vote on passing this amendment, or this ordinance as
Yep.
amendments that we're gonna be talking about today, because it wasn't available for review.
Right.
Is that a motion?
No, it's not a motion. I'm just asking that
We
he
need to
not
postpone it.
accept that motion, and that he continue this discussion, because that's what's on the agenda.
so
Everybody-
this isn't
Postpone
even,
it?
this isn't even a draft.
No, this is the final draft.
No, no, but we didn't have an input as far as
Yeah,
certificate of.
because, I mean, when we look at it, yeah, I mean, you can, in my opinion, it was the final draft, right? Like, we had talked about a few things, me and Cassandra, over emails, to kind of address, like, again, the building official, right? I said, well, let's make it to where it's not just that person, because we don't have that role filled. Let's make it city administrator or designee.
And to Alderman Madero's point, we didn't receive it, so we didn't know if we had questions, right?
Sure, sure. Again, I don't
Yeah, no.
care one
that's
way or
fine.
the other,
Uh-huh.
just, do we agree that we should postpone it?
Yes.
I agree.
Okay.
Anyway, the C says 2024-248.
Yeah, that's just it wasn't, we originally brought it up in 2024, now it's 2025.
248,
Right,
okay.
yeah.
So we're postponing this.
Okay.
That's what we're
Sure.
doing, right?
Yes,
Okay, good.
good.
Postpone. All right. Okay, so then let's see here, next item. Discuss and or possible action on the presentation of the racial profiling report by Chief Juarez. Sir, you have the floor.
Just to let you all know, every year we have to turn in the racial profiling report. That's in January of every year. We completed it, turned it in. The entire report basically is just going to go over the entire 490 traffic stops that were made last year. But we were accountable for 100% of what's turned in. That's basically that.
Mayor, is this a report that we filed in the past?
Yes.
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 So we, and then how are these numbers, how do they compare to the numbers in the past, just like the general racial profile?
Typically, it's majority Hispanic.
So that's about it, but.
It's
is-
about out average, if I would.
But this is pretty similar to our previous reports. And then, is our population,
Probably 95% Hispanic.
yes, that's what I was thinking too. And the male-female ratio within the town, do we know that as well?
Yeah, last I looked at census information, it was similar. I won't say it's word one for
No,
one, but
you know, it's gotta be different every year,
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, but just
Yeah,
generally.
I
So-
mean, but,
So there's no indication based on these numbers that there's any kind of
that they're skewed.
well, we
no
passed.
skewing going on. But I love this information. This is a nice report to see.
So it is filed with the state already, and then once we approve it, then we'll put it on the website. So,
So we need a
We need to approve this as a report? It's already filed and everything now?
it's
Okay.
filed with the state. We just need to, once we approve it, then we can file it with, on the website.
All right,
Oh.
then I'll make a motion that we accept this report on the racial profiling report from Chief Juarez.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion from Alderwoman Madero and a second from Alderman Rapino to accept the racial profiling report as presented. Is there any discussion before we take a vote? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Thank you. Do you send, wait, I have the digital version, right?
Correct.
So I'll send it off to CJ to post. All right, thank you. All right, discuss and or possible action on resolution 2025-218, approving submission of a grant application for body cameras to the office of the governor. So these are resolutions that we have to draft in order to submit our application to the office of the governor as it states. These were provided by the grant company, and our council reviewed them to be presented today. They will be filled in appropriately with the grant number once we have that information. But as it stands, everything else still looks up to par.
I make a motion then that we pass a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, approving submission of a grant application for body cameras, resolution number 2025-218.
I'll second that one too, I guess.
All right, do we have any discussion before we take a vote?
Just a quick question. These are the grants for the body cameras we approved at the last meeting, correct?
Right.
All right, that's all, sir.
Okay, so then I have a motion from Alderwoman Madero and a second from Alderman Rapino to accept resolution 2025-218, accepting for the application for body cameras to the office of the governor. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those
Aye.
opposed? Thank you, sir. Sorry, I got it. Cut you off. All right, moving right along, discuss and or possible action on resolution 2025-219, approving submission of a grant application for body worn vests to the office of the governor.
And this is the same as what we approved last meeting too for the vest.
That is correct, yes.
Is it? Okay, I'll make a motion that we
Pass.
pass, well, not pass, we
Accept.
Adopt.
adopt
Yeah.
resolution number 2025-219, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, approving submission of a grant application for body-worn vests.
I'll second.
All right, and then, so then I have a Motion to adopt resolution 2025-219 approving submission of a grant application for body worn vest by Alderman Rapino and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado. Before I take a vote, do we have any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. And then moving on to the last one, discuss under possible action on resolution 2025-220 approving a grant application for a mental health officer to the office of the governor. So just to kind of give you some backup on this one or backstory, we agreed 2 meetings ago to fund a mental health officer via ARPA funds. This is to take that position into the future, to be funded quasi-permanently, I guess you would say it. We have to apply every year. Is that right? Is it annually?
For the grant, yes.
For the grant. So we'd have to apply annually, but doing this puts them on for the next budget cycle.
We have to match,
There is no match.
no match, but why are we using ARPA funds? then?
ARPA funds is used to get the person on this year.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay, I understand.
This is for the 25-26 budget. Yeah, 25-26 budget.
Okay, all right, I understand.
And this position would come in as the same salary as a
As do you remember what
patrol.
we offered the mental health officer? 50.
50.
Yep. Mental health officer has specialized training.
And we do have adequate funds.
Yes.
in the
Currently,
office.
yes.
Okay.
The ARPA.
Yep. Anybody want to make a motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2025-220, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas, approving the submission of a grant application for a mental health officer.
And may I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Before we take a vote, is there any discussion? All right, so I have a motion by Alderman Rapino and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado, adopting resolution 2025-220, approving a grant application for a mental health officer to the office of the governor. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay, thank you. We will submit those and get those over to the grant company and get them posted online.
When are you gonna need my money?
I'm working on it.
We're gonna get your money.
Yeah, we're gonna get it.
Don't forget
Not a
that.
matter of if.
I appreciate it. Don't forget about it.
All right, so then moving along to E7E, discuss under possible action on annual review of the master fee schedule for assessing fees and adjustments of fees if necessary. So if you look at Exhibit A. So I know one of the items we definitely need to add was for the
Approaches, driveway.
yeah, the driveways,
Approaches.
right? And it was, Alderman
Fine.
Madero, do you remember what for the approaches?
It was going to be $50 permit application fee and then a $650 additional fee if the engineer
It's involved.
was
Yeah.
required to do an analysis.
So if you're looking at the first stapled sheet, that is the current fee schedule. The second one is a clean copy of amendments, and then the third one shows the red line amendments. So the driveway is included in the proposed ones, so what's been incorporated into the red lines are what the council's adopted since last year.
Which is the one marked draft?
Yeah.
Is that
Yes,
correct?
the two
Okay.
marked drafts.
Okay.
There's two more draft. And one is
There's
edited.
the red light, okay, I see. So I know of at least one item that's missing from here as a fee that's mentioned in an ordinance but not included. So if you look at the animal control ordinance, they mention of a fee for calling animal control to pick up a dead animal,
Mhm.
but it's not listed in here. So I would just wonder whether or not there's other little fees like that that are mentioned in our ordinances. A fee's not stated, but it says for a fee, you can call animal control to come pick up a dead animal.
Does that pick up their own personal dead animal, right?
Yeah, their own not to pick one up off the street.
So that's another
Yeah.
whole different thing. I want to bring back the animal
Yeah.
control ordinance for discussion with this group. I just need a second alderman to
I'll sponsor it.
Just send an email.
Right, I'm still digging through it, but I was
Yeah.
just reading through it a couple days ago, and that's where I noticed that it says you can request assistance for a fee, but the fee's not mentioned, and it also doesn't say, I mean, anything.
It should be here.
So, but the fact that it's not here, I would assume then that that's a fee that's mentioned in the ordinance, but not discussed and set by city council. So maybe we need to do a scrub of our ordinance and see if there's other ones we need to add. I mean,
Yeah.
I think for what we've already said, oh, it looks like someone's already on the ball and done that.
Yeah. Trying to keep up with the fees and if we're collecting them.
Yeah, so, but, I mean, this is an example of one that's mentioned but not set,
Right.
so.
So there may be fees missing.
Yeah, so that would be something we need to bring back as a point of conversation.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so
So
I'm
it's-
just trying to make that as a point, but
I think it was probably putting the cart before the horse when
Yeah.
the ordinance was brought up. It mentioned the fee, but then we said, well, it needs to be first incorporated into the
Fee
master fee
schedule.
schedule. Then we have
And
to
we
come
never
back
did.
and amend the ordinance itself. to
the animal
import.
control
So it's a-
ordinance says it's gonna be in the master fee schedule.
And
Yeah.
Well-
And it's not.
So we just needed to bring it back as a point of conversation of how what we're gonna do with that. But, in what I see in here, I had no other issues other than that one.
Well, we can add it right now.
No, I think
well,
that,
we can
I-
put it in a master fee schedule. Sure,
Yeah.
we can amend it
that
here, and then
one, but then we'll bring back the others.
the others will have to
Yeah.
do them one by one.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, if we wanted to,
So we can have a discussion about setting the fee
Right.
while we're doing this?
Yep.
Okay, I didn't know whether that was stepping outside the bounds there.
so we want to do a dog pickup, dead dog pickup fee or?
Well, here's the problem.
Problem.
The animal control ordinance doesn't say dead dog.
Oh, just,
It says dead animal.
oh, dead animal. Well, we're not gonna pick up horses. We don't have the capability.
Well, there's
But yeah.
another section in the animal control ordinance that says, that you're responsible for your own livestock, but what if it's a dead skunk?
Let the
We
vultures-
can
let the
bring
vultures
the
eat.
we should bring the ordinance back and then just make those amendments.
Yeah, so I think
corrections.
these are the kind of things that are not addressed, but if we can put something general in here, I'd recommend not limiting it to
To
dead
dogs,
dog.
Yeah,
To add it to the fee schedule, I think fixing it needs to be done by a conversation animal control ordinance. I think if we add it here, it needs to be stated the same way it's stated in the ordinance, which I think is call for assistance on a dead animal. But once she picks up a dead animal, does the city incur a cost? Do we have to go
Yes.
have it cremated? I mean, because
Yes.
if we're gonna add it to our fee schedule, I think we need to make sure whatever cost we're incurring as a city needs to be covered by the fee we're charging.
it's not extensive, and I wish Ashley or Cassandra was here to speak to it, but I think it's called Blue Bonnet, right?
It is
Crematory?
Blue Bonnet Crematory, and they
And,
come whenever the
hold
freezer's
on,
full.
Delma, go ahead.
They charge $9 per animal.
Per animal.
That they come and pick up.
Okay, and so, but in the meantime, we do have a storage for them where they're kept cool. And
Do they take all kinds of animals, or it's just dogs and cats?
that's a good question. I don't know. I'm assuming they would take something that would fit like a dog, but that's a good question to ask them, because once they may only charge us $9 for a dog or a cat, but
Well, they can always.
for a possum, they might
Cut
charge
'em up.
something different.
For a possum, you could put it
We
in the
don't-
backyard.
Yeah,
We don't pick up possums.
no, but that's not what it says. It
That's not the
says,
ordinance.
it says
Right.
dead animal.
So that's why we don't know if Blue
Right.
Bonnet Crematory will pick any of it up, because the only
We
thing
have-
we're limited to is just dogs and cats is the only thing that animal control picks up.
But will Blue
That's
Bonnet
it.
pick up any of it?
Right, we don't know because
Right.
we don't allow ourselves to go,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
it's just dogs and cats only.
So we have to be specific on the ordinance.
Yeah, because it says animals, not
Yeah.
dogs and cats.
Because they could call for anything.
Yeah. There's a dead
Yeah.
raccoon.
It's not a dog control ordinance, it's an animal
Yeah.
control ordinance, so, yeah.
then-
Let's revisit the ordinance
Yes,
at
definitely
another date.
wanna-
We
wanna
can
do
set a
that.
fee in here if we want to.
But we can
now,
say a
but we
fee,
can-
hold on,
Yeah,
I have the ordinance.
Let's set the fee.
I gotta get 1855, I'll come get it.
I think generally,
No.
25, $50 is not unheard of to come pick up. Mostly I'm thinking,
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
a stray that
Well, I
died
had
in
just
your
that one, so
property,
that was
right?
the
Like, that's what I'm
highlighting
thinking of.
areas I had questions on.
I don't wanna take it to San Antonio to whatever place that can do it for me, because they're gonna charge me $100 or whatever. But if it's a stray that walked into your yard and just happened to die there because,
Actually,
Or you
it's-
shot
The
it.
dog dies on my yard, I'm gonna bury
actually,
it
San
there.
Antonio will tell you, put it in a box, put it at
put
the
in the
curb.
corner, right?
Put it on the curb and they pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I researched local cities for for pets and wildlife. The trash company picks them up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
As long as you put them in a box at the end of the curb. So here, we're not picking them up at their houses, we're picking them up.
In the street, on the
In
road.
the
Somebody reports a dead dog, so they just go pick it up. We're not.
Yeah, well,
there's
there's
no
nobody
fee
to
involved
there's
there.
nobody to
So-
charge.
It's a city service.
So the city ordinance states in section G, fees for removal of, under section 14, paragraph G, fees for removal of dead animals. There shall be a fee for the removal of a deceased animal from private property. The fee shall be determined as designated in the fee schedule. These fees are to be paid by the person or persons owning the animal or having possession thereof. So no limit to dogs and cats.
So
So
the
what-
fee is, it doesn't list there that,
It
that,
doesn't
it doesn't, it
list
says
anything.
it's listed here, so we should just
So,
proceed.
I mean, what do we want to charge? 10 bucks, 20 bucks?
And
What's a reasonable
my
fee?
point, wouldn't the owner bury their dog?
Probably.
Correct, they
I
would,
do,
but we
I
have
have
in
a
the
pet
ordinance that they
cemetery.
can
It's
call
stated,
animal
yeah.
control, and we will
So,
put
yeah.
it in
Well,
the fee schedule.
why don't we do this? Why don't we task Ashley to find out, like, what's the weight scale? Because I think that's how they do it, right? Like, if it's 5 to 10 pounds, no, it's $9 per animal. But I'm saying if we bring a Great Dane, they're still gonna charge us $9?
Because they do bulk burning, they just
Sure.
throw them all together and
Sure.
cremate them. They only charge more when they gotta like separate your spots separate and cremate it, put it in a
Oh, I guess,
container.
yeah.
We had a
But
Great
then they
Pyrenees
just
and
pile
was
it all
charged
in
the
there
same
and
price
Was it?
burn them all.
as a Chihuahua.
That's a pretty good deal. They gotta come all the way out here.
Per bag.
Can I get
Take
900.
it to the
cremated
glue
to my
factory.
company?
I
Couple
bury
of
It's
all
a
of
lot
mine.
more expensive.
I bury all of mine.
So again, we need to go back and visit the animal control ordinance and talk about that.
Right.
But it's in there that there's a fee in the fee schedule for picking up a dead animal.
Well,
So
that-
what do we wanna do? 10, 20 bucks? I have no idea what's reasonable.
I would say make it minimal. I mean,
$10, cause it's
yeah.
$9 for the,
You also have an employee going and picking up the
Yep.
animal, but you also have city fuel that we're using to go pick up that animal. It's not just
Yeah,
the
it's overhead.
$20.
25 bucks.
$25 is adequate.
it's
So-
20, then we don't have to give change. They just pull the 20 out of the
Just a
pocket.
$20.
How about 40 then? Since
No,
since
20.
I'm gonna scalp anybody.
20, because I mean, then they'll let it
They're
rot in their
breathing
backyard, I don't
animals.
know.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, hopefully it's not their dog.
Okay, I make a motion that we add the item to the master fee schedule that the picking up of a dead animal from an individual's property is $20, as referenced in section 14, paragraph G.
$20. All right, so I have a
Sounds
motion.
good.
I have a motion by Alderwoman Madero, and a second by Alderman Rapino to
$20.
amend the master fee schedule to reflect the deceased animal collection fee of $20.
We're not
Any
gonna-
discussion?
I think we discussed it.
We're not gonna.
All
do-
those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right.
We have to fix the animal control ordinance to do that, 'cause it's not state law yet.
You know of any other fees that need to be amended or changed?
Well, I'd like to, as far as animal control, I'm gonna discuss it with her because it's stuff that I wanna see if it's still in the ordinance as a fee. It's just things that I know is being collected, but I don't know if it's in the ordinance, so things like that.
Okay.
We can always amend this later, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just an attachment, so we can come back and sort through
Yeah.
and find this out.
So certificate of occupancy, were we gonna do that one?
I
or no?
mean, I think we could, I know we still need to pass a certificate of occupancy ordinance, but
I'm
it
gonna
takes time.
see- Yeah, I'm gonna see how much, what kind
What-
of trouble
what it-
we're gonna go through to do
Yeah.
it, so that'll determine the fee,
So we'll come back,
yeah.
okay. So as far as passing this ordinance is to
It's just to amend the ordinance.
be able to amend it?
And we list fence permit and garage sale permit, even though there's no cost, we don't put 0, we just do the dotted line.
Just that it's required, there's no fee.
Oh, I do have one.
So, okay.
On the quarantine for the animal, we don't have a facility, nor do we have the capability to quarantine. So I think we should remove that altogether.
The ordinance?
Well, I don't know
Or
about the
the-
ordinance, but
It's in the
from the
ordinance.
master fee schedule, we can't,
Quarantine, yeah.
we don't have the capabilities, we don't have the facilities to
I'll make note of
properly,
that.
to properly
Ordinance.
quarantine. Yeah, so the going back to the ordinance, it needs to be removed and they need to take it to somewhere else. But
It might not say we quarantine it.
it does, it says we can quarantine it, they can quarantine it, or they can take it to an approved facility. But, so I mean, we can leave it as 0, but I think it needs to say, do not provide or something like that, not 0. Cause then it implies that we will do it for free, I think.
Well, quarantine is mandatory, is it not?
On like a dog bite, yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't have the facilities. to
I
do
know,
it.
but they then have to be.
Yes. To answer your question, yes, they have to do it,
Right.
or take it to an actual facility that can.
They have the right to quarantine it within their own house too,
Yes.
based on our ordinance.
That is correct.
Yeah, I don't see where it says that we would quarantine it.
That we can. I mean, either way, it's,
Right, it makes sense to remove it because
It's not a list of fees on the last page.
no, I was just looking under animal quarantine, it said that it would be. No, see, there's nothing.
so again, it could stay in here. I just don't think it should say blank. I
So it
think,
should be removed from here on the ordinance too.
no.
He's just saying that this, I mean, does this imply, can a county citizen interpret that to mean that we would quarantine it for free? Because that's how we have it down here under garage sales and permits.
So the ordinance shouldn't even imply that we can do it.
I would say so, but that's just my opinion.
I think we should remove it and amend the ordinance.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that's not what we're discussing today.
No, it is. I mean, well, yeah, the ordinance, yeah,
Totally,
but we
yeah.
could remove
Yeah,
quarantine if we wanted to.
yeah.
Well, actually, the ordinance does state that the owner shall surrender the animal to the animal control officer for quarantine at the city's designated quarantine facility. So, or with approval from the animal control officer, deliver the animal to a state-approved veterinarian quarantine facility for quarantine at the owner's expense. So do we have a facility where we take animals that need to be quarantined?
I think Ashley has a recommendation.
She does have a place.
Yeah.
Do we know the fee, the daily fee for that?
Have we ever had
The
to do
daily-
it?
Yeah, the daily fees,
We've had to do
not our
it?
problem.
Yes, it's
in
been
a
over
sense.
$1,000 for a dog.
I mean, it's normal to quarantine on site, that the owner should quarantine the
Yeah,
animal.
that's an option.
It's not, we shouldn't have to take the animal to quarantine, they should quarantine on site.
I-
I mean,
I-
we had
Well,
dogs grow up with dogs.
They
that
could
bit
quarantine
somebody
on
and
site,
they
or they could
quarantine
take
on
it
site.
to.
Right, and I don't argue that point, but the point I'm making is that our ordinance currently, as written,
Yeah.
states the owner shall
That
surrender
we
the
will.
animal to the animal control officer for quarantine at the city's designated quarantine facility. Or, so it says they will turn it over and we will, or they're gonna do something else. So that's one of the mandatory things. The quarantine fee, both at the end of this city ordinance and here, has just dotted lines, which is the same thing we use when we're talking fence permit and garage sale permit, indicating there's no fee for
Zero.
it. So
Yeah.
having it in here, we need to, because the animal control ordinance says we're gonna take it to our
I
quarantine
think we need
facility.
to relook the animal control ordinance.
Absolutely, but in the meantime, what are we gonna do about quarantine?
There's no fee there, we just need to just disregard it at this point.
Well,
There's
because
no
they're
fee,
gonna.
there's no
they're-
fee associated with it, so.
Yeah, but if someone turns it over because their dog
At
bit
that point,
somebody.
animal control just needs to say, we currently don't have a facility to
Right,
quarantine. You'll
and
have
so
to
then we
quarantine
take it-
on site.
Right.
Can
So-
we,
And
can we do
yes,
that?
sure.
Because it
Yeah,
says
okay.
or.
Okay, as long as we can get away with doing that.
Because it says or.
I think it's
There's an
important that we ensure that the dog is quarantined.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it has the potential to be
Somebody
By
rabid.
someone else.
Yeah.
So,
So I would ask then of our attorney, is this implying that the quarantine fee is zero? would it be better for us to remove this
I say,
rather than?
Probably be clear if you remove it, or just indicate not applicable or.
To be
At
determined,
owner's expense?
Yes.
TBD?
Well, there are some ordinances fees if the city has put something at cost or cost of the actual cost of the facility, or actual cost, but hasn't specified a cost. So probably if the city is not gonna quarantine, just strike it.
I make a motion, we strike the line that says quarantine dash ordinance 2024-236 from our master fee schedule.
Okay.
second.
Okay, I have a motion by Alderwoman Madero and a second by Alderman Tremblay to strike quarantine and ordinance 2024, what did that say? 236?
236, yes.
236,
Mhm.
and a seconded by Alderman Rapino.
No,
Alderman Tremblay, excuse me. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
All right. Thank you.
I have a question about the return redemption fees on here,
Mhm.
and I'm just a little confused. Because it says if your return and redemption of a captured animal that's not spaded or neutered, within 30 days of initial return, so if they're captured a second time within 30 days, it's a $100 fee, which is the same fee if it's a spayed or neutered animal. But then it says if it's more than 30 days later, then there's no fee at all, which doesn't make sense. There should be some sort of return/redemption for a second offense. And if it's not within 30 days of the first offense, then maybe the fee just goes back to what it was. It's considered a first offense again or something, but it shouldn't be nothing.
I think then, isn't it taken to the court?
That's the third time you
The
don't
third?
get your animal back. Return redemption of captured animal for the third offense. But it's just at the bottom of the first page, there's this, the second one I believe is a second offense also, even though it doesn't say second offense, because it says within 30 days of the initial return redemption from first offense. So that implies second offense. But the last one on here says that if it's more than 30 days since your first offense, there's no fine. You're still needing to redeem your pet. You still should be paying something. If we want to treat it as just like a first offense because it's been more than 30 days since they let their dog out the last time, then we should say $50 on it or something. But right now it's implying zero, and that's my concern.
it should be $200.
I thought they
Second
are
offense.
charged anyhow, but
Yeah, I think it was
they
just- I
may
think it was
not
just
have it
omitted.
in there, but I don't think they get off scot-free.
There should be an increased fine after the.
Well, the
second
increased
offense.
fine, I think, should be if it's within 30 days.
Sure.
So right now, the second offense is $100.
Mhm.
But they're trying to differentiate between the second offense within 30 days and the second offense after more than 30 days since the first offense.
So like a, yeah, I see.
So, and then they list neutered animals versus not neutered, but the fees are the same regardless.
Alderman Madero, may I suggest that we put on an agenda for each item to amend that ordinance to include these fees, to make sure that we're comparing them to what I have as far as information, and that way we do it all at once instead of picking on one, and then we'll change it here. And what if it's not what we've discussed that I have, and then we have to come back and change it again?
But we can change this to whatever you have right now, and that would be fine. And then we just have to update the animal control ordinance to
Need them in
match.
the ordinance.
But the question I have is if these fees are even in the ordinance
They're-
to compare.
And they're usually not mentioned in the ordinance, the body itself. However, at the very bottom of the ordinance, there's a
Okay.
table.
Okay, let me tell you what I have. We have dog chipping, 10 to 25. Adoption, 50. Dog return owner, 50. Boarding fees, $15 a day. I don't know that we have all those in here. That's why, dangerous dog registering, 400.
Yep,
Destruction, 300.
yes,
Second return of owner, 100.
yes.
Yep.
Have return, rental of community center, I don't know that one, I still have to check on that one. Do we have that one, rental of community center, 150?
No, I don't recall seeing that in here.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Okay, so that's
So
one.
let's add that.
Surrendering dogs, 500 a dog.
Yes, so destruction of an owner surrendered dog.
And mobile home permits, 100.
Yep.
I think that's all I have for right now.
What was the last one before the mobile home? What did you mention?
Mobile home permits,
Before that one?
Surrendering a dog.
surrendering dogs, 500 a day.
No, I just.
It's
A
on
dog.
here, so-
No, no, no.
dog.
There was one you just mentioned.
Rental of community center,
Yes. Okay.
150.
Okay.
Right, so this problem in the fee schedule that I was mentioning is also in the table at the end of the ordinance. And I definitely will get with you about bringing back my concerns with that. But,
Can we get a motion to put the comm center rental fee in there since we know that one for sure is missing?
And the charge, the violation charges aren't in here, right? For violations as far as like the CMB ordinance. There's a violation fee.
No, I don't think so.
That's what we're gonna discuss on the ordinance. I don't know if we wanna put it in there now.
I'm sorry,
bring it back.
violation fee,
For
The,
commercial motor vehicles.
it's I believe $500. Here it is. It's a fine. So is that in your,
Oh,
this
the
is,
fines won't go in the master.
that's
fee
what I was
schedule.
asking. Okay. So it doesn't go in the fee schedule, it goes in the fines.
So I move that we add the, to the master fee schedule, rental of the community center.
Community center.
$150 per day, per night, or per event, what is it,
It's usually per night.
per night,
Yeah, 'cause
$150.
what's a reference for that fee?
It
What
says
is-
150.
What
In
is
the- in the ordinance.
reference?
Oh, the ordinance, I just took it from, as information. That's why I was gonna tell you, I need to discuss the ordinance on that. On the community center, I believe, do you have that?
I'm sure
Oh,
Ms.
you
Hunter
know.
knows it.
Do you have that information as far as, the ordinance was passed? I mean, I'm sure it was 2019, but I don't know which one.
I don't remember
Yeah.
when.
When the community center, I don't think it was an ordinance or any type of resolution, it was probably just council action, so
Yeah,
for
right.
those, we may be able to reference well, some of them don't have references like copies, credit card, either just not.
So we don't have to reference, we
or
just need
the
to
date it
know.
was approved.
Okay. So
Okay.
just add it in there without a reference?
Right. So I do have a motion from Alderman Tremblay, right? Correct, you motioned that one?
Yes.
For the comm center, and then a second by
I'll second.
Alderwoman Madero to add rental of community center. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, got that one.
Do we have a fee that we charge for, the shaded place?
No,
No, that one, they can just,
yeah.
Just need to
schedule it,
reserve
reserve it,
Reserve it,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and can we go back to this second offense item at the bottom of the first page? I don't think it should be zeroed. I also am not sure why we're delineating between spayed and neutered versus not spayed and neutered when we're charging the same thing. So, so the first question then is, do we want to treat a second offense that's not within 30 days of the first offense differently from any other second offense? Because that's the delineation I see between this one and the other. I think we can just simplify this, say, return and redemption of captured animal, the first offense $50, return redemption of captured animal, second offense $100, and do away with all the other stuff about making a difference between spayed and neutered, because we're not.
Do you want to define how often the second offense can occur in the sense of, not how often, but how quickly? So before 45 days or something like that? Of the first offense, you know what I'm saying?
like if we return them within 30 days and then they do it again?
Right, so we
Within 2
pick up the
days?
dog today and then we pick it up tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So they pay $100 today, but then tomorrow it's out. They gotta pay another $100, right? Do we wanna define that's saying, if it's within 30 days, obviously you're habitual. But if it's 6 months down the road,
It's another first offense?
It's another first
Then it's
offense.
the first.
Well, it's after the 30 days where the fine should increase. So if you pick, like you say, you pick it up the first time, it's $50. It's spayed neutered. It's $50 to return it. If it's not spayed neutered, they still pay $50, but they sign an agreement that they will have it done
Get it
within
done.
30 days.
Right.
If you pick it up before that 30 days is up, it's still $50. They have 30 days to get
Yeah.
the job done.
Yeah.
After 30 days, if you pick it up and it's not spayed and neutered, now the fine is $100
Sure.
to get it.
Yep.
And they have to, they should still sign another agreement that they're gonna get it done. And if they
Yeah.
don't get it done, then they're actually should be surrendering the animal after that second offense. It shouldn't
think
be a
that's-
So
fine.
that's the purpose of doing
That's what
that.
it is,
So this
surrendering.
makes sense, because they have 30 days to get it spayed and neutered. I understand now. Okay, that's the clarification I was
So,
looking for.
but,
Thank
so
you,
is 6
Karen.
months down the road a first offense again, or?
If it's the same people,
If
it
it's 6
should
months
be.
down the road and it's not spayed and neutered,
It's up
Well,
to-
that's a problem, right?
Yeah,
But I'm
that's
saying
a
if the
problem.
dog's just in the street, right?
Right.
Like, they got out, is
Mhm.
that still, is that now the third offense?
costs them $50.
So it's
after
going
6
back to the
months.
first offense?
Yeah.
Right? I
I
mean,
guess.
Okay, but what are we going to do if it's the second offense, it's 45 days later, and the animal's still not fixed? So are we going
But that's
to
a $100 fine, and they sign another agreement. What can we do? I mean,
make them
it would be up
surrender
until the
animal?
it would be up until the third offense is when you should be surrendering the animal. I mean, previous chief took an animal from my neighbor, Doberman Pinscher. They would let it out. It wouldn't let my daughter out of her car to open her gate. They would swear up and down the dog wasn't loose. He'd go knock on their door. Your dog is loose. The neighbors complaining. He said, "Oh, my dog never gets out." Turn around, the dog's coming down the street.
Okay, so for the last item, you're recommending that we
The dog should be
just give a
surrendered at.
$100 fee and then,
100.
and upon signing agreement to
Mhm.
spay and neuter. Okay, so then I make a motion to update the last line on page 1 to indicate that return redemption of captured animal not spayed, neuter, second offense, if captured more than 30 days after first offense, include a fee of $100 and follow that parenthetical statement, and upon signing agreement to spay, neuter.
I'll second.
all right, so I got a motion by Alderwoman Madero and a second by Alderman Tremblay. That was a whole lot to remember. To amend the return redemption of captured animal not spayed or neutered, second offense if captured more than 30 days after first offense, to $100 with the addition of they will sign the agreement
To spay and neuter.
to spay and neuter. Cool. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
So the one at the top of the second page is surrender?
Should be.
Yep.
And there's no fee associated with
Third
surrendering the
offense,
animal,
right.
correct?
Excuse me?
And we're not gonna make them pay anything for surrendering the animal.
No.
At
What
that
does
point.
seizure mean?
They've taken the animal. They,
But, I mean, in what instances
In
would
what
they be
instance?
seizing the animal? Is that, because it wouldn't be for a
Like
quarantine
unsafe
purpose.
conditions? right?
Unsafe
Maybe
conditions.
could be
So-
for
boarding.
quarantine. If they didn't quarantine, that would be grounds for seizure if they didn't quarantine the animal. But
But there should be a fee.
continuously,
But there's no fee, if the animal control officer has to go onto your property to seize your animal because it's not
Should be
safe
a
and
fee.
they're gonna take and impound your animal, there's a $10 or $15 a day, for impounding it, but is there any fee for going in and taking the animal from your property?
Well, there's probably many reasons for doing that.
Okay.
Maltreatment, or,
You know, she's asking if we should have a fee.
yeah, no, and depending on the animal,
I think it's too many varying situations, I'm okay
Yeah.
with no fee, I just wanted to open
it
it.
would have to
There's
be
no
the
thoughts.
discretion. Animal control officer could determine that may be able to adopt the animal out. The instance with my neighbor, Doberman, ended up at the police academy, went to school and became a police dog. So there you go. I mean, it was a good dog. The owners just did not care for it and train it correctly.
So we can actually
So,
just put a
It
zero?
would be up to ACO to determine what to do with a surrendered animal.
Can we do
Yeah.
that?
Or
So we
seized
can
animal.
Seizure.
put dashes
Seizure, a
instead of
seizure.
zero on here. That seems to be the.
I think we should put zero or NA in there.
No. I don't think we're able to,
No?
no, I think it's, because if it's gotta go to court, right? If it's a seizure
I
because
see.
of an animal that is neglected,
So there's a fine for that.
right, so there's a fine for
Sure,
that.
if they appeal, if they want to appeal the seizure, I mean, it's up to them, but,
Yeah.
So
their
should it be,
defense, you'd think they're unable to care for the
I don't
animal.
think it could be by ACO discretion. I don't think that's an actual
because there is a fine.
For,
for seizure. Like, we can't just have the ACO say, well, here's a fee of X
oh,
amount.
right, no, there should no, I don't think there should be a fee on a
No,
seizure.
there can't be a fee, really, you're taking an animal, so,
So it shouldn't even be on here because there's a fine.
no,
Yeah,
No.
not
if
necessarily
it
a
is
fine
by
either.
way of like malnutrition or whatever, neglect, then it's a fine, it's not a seizure.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, so
Oh, I
I
see.
see what you're saying too.
Yeah, seizure shouldn't even be listed.
Yeah,
in
it
the
shouldn't.
Master fee schedule. And it doesn't say seizure, it says return redemption of a captured animal.
What says seizure?
On the master fee.
Oh,
schedule.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, it does. I move that we remove seizure from the fee schedule.
Okay, well, I have a motion by Alderman Tremblay and a second by
Me.
Mayor Pro Tem
Me.
to remove the seizure line, including ordinance 2024-236. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
I make a motion that we remove the, certificate of occupancy section. Registration tag for sale of dangerous, that should be up above. Okay, that's thrown me off there. The certificate of occupancy, application, and have that added back in after we actually pass it, because with an X there, that could be confusing when, if we post it
Like if there's
that.
no fee.
All right, second.
Remove till amended.
Okay, so I got a motion by Alderwoman Madero and a second by Alderman Rapino to remove certificate of occupancy application until the ordinance can be discussed and approved. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right.
A question about the driveway one.
Mm-hmm.
So the driveway permit is $50, but I thought it was an additional $650 if the engineering inspection was required. If an engineering analysis, because the way it's written, it says the driveway permit without the engineering inspection is $50, but the driveway permit with the engineering inspection is $650.
So it should be 650 plus 50.
So,
Because I would not want to layer it in, I'd want to display it. Right, so instead of
Or-
saying 700,
Or get the initial permit as 50, and then it's, and front of driveway permit with engineer, additional driveway permit with engineering inspection. So you still have two permits.
just call it something different. It's
Right.
not a driveway permit, it's the engineering analysis for driveway permit.
okay. So just call it an
Oh,
engineering
yeah.
All right,
analysis.
so I make a motion to change driveway permit with engineering inspection requirement.
But doesn't the ordinance need to say that?
Probably.
that's
Yeah,
not-
The ordinance
that's not what
doesn't
we
say
said.
that. It just says the permit fee is going to be included. It doesn't say.
How about the engineer?
It says the engineer, but
Yeah.
to change it to engineering analysis,
Oh,
would it need to say that in the
Yeah,
ordinance?
let's not change the verbiage so
It's
much.
not in the ordinance itself, I think it was the fees
It
that
says
the
to refer
council
to the-
approved when they approved the ordinance, but not, it
Okay.
wasn't written into. the
Okay,
ordinance itself.
gotcha. So it can say, all
It
right,
just says the driveway fees.
okay.
So,
So, I'm sorry, go ahead,
we
restate your,
can go ahead and say it just to keep it simple, is just say, driveway engineer inspection fee instead of driveway permit with engineer inspection requirement.
driveway engineer. Driveway engineer inspection fee?
Inspection fee.
That's
Or
okay,
we don't need the word fee, just driveway engineering inspection,
okay.
because nothing else says fee in there. Sorry.
All right, can I get a second?
Second.
All right, so a motion by Alderwoman Madero and a second by Alderman Rapino to strike driveway permit with engineering inspection requirement and insert engineering driveway, or driveway engineering inspection. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right,
And keep driveway permit without engineering inspection as is, or just driveway permit? The
I-
first
yeah, I think the
one.
first one should say.
Oh,
the same.
yes, just driveway permit. Make a motion for the first line to say driveway permit
and strike without.
Yep,
and strike without engineering inspection.
I'll second.
Okay. I got a motion from Alderman Madero and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado to strike without engineering inspection under driveway permit. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed. Okay, thank you.
Do we really pay all these fees for swimming pools?
You better believe it.
My neighbor put one in his front yard and it didn't do anything, I'm sure.
Or when's the luau?
Yeah.
Request for public information.
I think everything else is pretty standard at this point, and we'll have to just come back when we find more.
Okay.
And then we'll just need a motion to accept as amended.
I make a motion to accept the City of San Diego's master fee schedule as amended.
Second.
All right, so I got a motion by Alderwoman Madero and a second by Alderman Rapino to accept the City of San Diego's master fee schedule as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Ma'am, did I hear you? I'm sorry.
Aye.
You got, okay, thank you. All right, that motion passes. Moving right along. Okay, discuss under possible action on amending city ordinance 2019-150, commercial motor vehicles. Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado and Alderman Tremblay, you have the floor.
It's been brought to our attention that we need more clarification as to what a utility vehicle is, a CMV is. There is the weight in question that was put in the ordinance as 14,000, and according to, in your pamphlet of a CMV, according to the FMCSA, which is federal, has a gross weight of 10,000 pounds or more. So that needs to be changed to 10,000 because we have several trucks
Which
and
paragraph are you talking about?
it says the description or definition of commercial vehicle.
Definition, yes ma'am.
And they're quoting 14,000 pounds, but according to the FMCSA, a CMV has a gross vehicle weight rating of 10,001 pounds or more.
But in the ordinance, it says 14,000.
Correct. So we were gonna,
Should
discuss
we
it
change
now.
everything to match this definition here?
I believe so. I mean, I don't know if that's what they were quoting here, but this is what, I mean, they're quoting FMCSA, but it's incorrect. I got it from the FMCSA website. Because
Right,
we
but my
have,
question is, ma'am, are you talking about only changing item number 1 in the definition
Yes.
to match just the first bulleted
On the
statement,
weight.
or do you want to match everything in this definition?
Just wait.
just the weight.
This ordinance effectively kicks out commercial motor vehicles, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so then we do at this point have commercial motor vehicles living within the city, is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay,
And we'll address that further
into the discussion?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing would be in section 3, regulating of parking by commercial vehicles.
Oh, well, let's make
Okay.
the motion for the,
For that
for the
part.
10,000, yeah.
So
Okay.
you want to change,
You want to
Yeah, I'm-
change the 14,000 to
Right.
10,000.
Is that a motion?
Anywhere it's
But why aren't we changing the combination of vehicle, gross vehicle weight to second
I
one?
think it has it down further.
It has it 14, 2 14s in paragraph.
It's gross combination.
Section
Because our
2.
ordinance says 14,000, this document you provided says 26,000.
Okay, yeah.
It's designed to transport more than 8 passengers, we don't have that.
4 is a road tractor pull. Yeah, she, at that time, included parts of the utility definition in there as part of the commercial vehicle, because,
I think we should match.
Match it.
Our commercial vehicle
Yeah.
definition should match the federal definition for a commercial vehicle.
right, and if you look at your second page, a utility service vehicle definition, it also quotes the FMCSA vehicle, utility service vehicle. And she included it as the one paragraph. So I'm saying that it includes that, but we were gonna, instead of it saying utilities vehicle, I gave you a copy of vehicle configurations, and behind that, if you look in the back of your sheet, yours has a back sheet, the cargo body type. Because we're getting confused as what a utilities vehicle is, and the whole purpose of the ordinance at that time was to allow for our propane provider to come in.
Yeah.
And for allow CPS to come in.
CPS,
Service
saws,
vehicles.
yeah,
All your service
Those are
Right, those are
utility
utilities.
vehicles,
Right.
correct?
But it was brought to our attention that we needed to specify that. So that way, you know, if we have a tow truck parking and a dead end on public property, we could go and talk to him and say, you're in violation. Right? That was the
Correct.
question.
Mhm.
So, then he could turn around and say, well, then I can park it on my property. Well, no, because you're not allowed, you're over the limit.
Can't bring it onto the streets. It's
Okay.
what the weight limit is designed to do is to protect the streets, the corners where individuals live. If you look at some of the corners where some of these people are bringing these trucks into their residences, just look at the corners where they're continuously turning and the
Yeah.
asphalt is all broken, tore up.
But if we put in the 10,000 pounds, all of these vehicles are over. So we don't even have to deal with the fact that
Correct.
it's
But
a
I
tow
think we
truck.
should just match the definition right here from
Okay.
FMCSA and just state a commercial motor vehicle is defined as.
Yeah, I have no
state
problem.
exactly what it says here, and then,
Add the one.
reference it came from the FMCSA, and then we can add the stuff here, the second part of this paragraph that says does not include, if you wanna talk about that, but I'm just talking about for the definition we're citing in our ordinance, we should be using the federal definition. Federal or state definition.
So for commercial vehicle, right, we're basically striking that.
14,000.
Taking the whole lot
The
thing out.
first sentence should be replaced with what they provided right here. as
With the
definition.
answer, right, with what's labeled as the answer, so that entire script should be in there, so. Makes sense.
I don't think we should pick and choose from the federal
Right.
government's
No,
definition.
I agree. Only to include the definition of the utility vehicle.
Right, and then that's the second sentence of
Second
that
part,
paragraph.
right.
Yeah, we can still keep that, but the first sentence is how it's defined, so.
Right,
I would propose that you guys,
just add that,
And
as
when-
it is,
that instead.
as it is.
And when it defines single or combination of vehicles with a gross vehicle weight of 26,000 pounds, we're not allowing trailers, so there's no combination of vehicles. It's only single vehicles that, with a 10,000
Yeah.
pound limit. We don't allow trailers, so that's where that's where they mention single or combination of vehicles with a GVW of 26,000. We're not even going there.
Right.
So we don't need
But
to.
you got no idea what's gonna happen when that little community's built over there and who's gonna be driving down Priest.
Oh, we do. We won't allow them. These are our streets.
Right, but unless you got a cop standing out there.
Well, that's the whole purpose of
We have 'em.
fixing this.
We have them. We're not
And
going to
that's
allow
why-
tractor
that's why I'm
trailers to be
thinking we
coming
should
in.
put the entire definition.
Correct.
So that we can say you're in violation of our city ordinance.
Yes.
Our city ordinance states, this is the definition of a commercial vehicle. If
Mm-hmm.
we only put part of a definition, then we don't have a defense.
Yep, I agree. We
There's
should,
no reason not to do that.
correct,
But yeah, I agree, they shouldn't be coming in our town, but
yeah,
we don't know what's gonna happen.
right. But at that point, we would have already amended this and fixed it to where we can enforce it.
Oh, we can do that now.
That's the issue.
Adding this whole thing in
Mm-hmm.
kind of designates or stipulates that we will allow combination vehicles up to 26,000 pounds. We don't want to do that.
Well,
This is just defining
This is-
it.
this
We
is a-
can put elsewhere in the ordinance that we don't want
Yeah,
combination
because-
vehicles in town.
and the regulation of parking by commercial vehicles in that section.
Okay? Yeah.
This is just a definition. That's the only reason we were trying to define just the CMB and not, add to where, because we were gonna,
Well, this is good that you have the federal definition, that
Right.
absolutely makes sense.
So your motion is to remove
Yeah.
this whole section,
Right.
Just the first sentence,
the first sentence.
because she likes the second, right? The second sentence in that section does not include government-owned or leased. The second and third sentence, there's two more
Hold on.
sentences.
Number 2 has gross combination, okay, that one goes out. Has gross combination axle count of 3 or more.
I'm
You
talking
mean-
about, that's all one sentence, I'm talking about where it says, commercial vehicle does not include
I see.
governmentally owned. I'm saying, I think you wanted to keep that
Correct.
portion of it,
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
those last two sentences.
Yeah.
So just from where to where are we deleting?
I guess from commercial vehicle means a vehicle and then just insert the answer here.
Yeah, that's one, that's
Means.
just the first sentence.
Mhm.
Those first
Means
6
vehicle.
lines are one sentence.
Okay, but we're not removing anything else, right? Because,
Yeah, I think that second,
Yeah,
the
that's what I'm
second,
saying.
the second and third sentence are fine, it's just that first sentence
that's exactly what the motion is, to remove the first sentence
and replace.
and replace it with the FMCSA
Definition of.
definition of a CMV.
What does the first sentence say? After,
The Texas Transportation Code.
right, okay. Like, am I missing a period somewhere? Okay,
No, it's a really long sentence,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
6 lines long.
okay,
Yeah,
I second her
up to,
motion.
it ends in code.
okay, gotcha. All right, so the motion by, who was it? Alderman,
No, all the
Me.
Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado? Okay,
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado.
That we remove the
Right.
first
And then
line.
remove the first sentence,
Sentence, not first
beginning with
sentence.
commercial vehicle,
Right,
ending in Texas Transportation Code, and in place of it, insert the definition from the FMCSA, a commercial motor vehicle is defined by,
right,
ending in would not qualify as a CMV, is that correct? So from these two parts, from here to here.
I don't think that
that,
paragraph.
that second paragraph does not pertain. Mhm.
No, okay.
The 4
So then
points.
going to the 4 points, okay.
Yeah,
So beginning, insert, a commercial motor vehicle
Mm-hmm.
is defined as and ending with that require federal placarding.
correct.
Okay. And then did I get a second
Yes, I second.
from Alderwoman Rivera? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, all those opposed, that motion passes.
Okay, so moving to section 3. On C3, we just want to include that it is owned, the owner, it should be that the tractor unit is the property owners. Because sometimes they have other people's tractors there.
What if they're a renter, they're renting the property?
No, they're not allowed to bring it. If they're renting the property,
No, but like they're renting the house.
no. They must own the property. They must own the vehicle.
I don't
Yes.
agree, no. I mean, I don't agree, but
Yes.
That was the whole purpose of the ordinance, because they were trying to say that, we couldn't keep our trucks there because we didn't, because we owned the property. We were saying, we own the property, this is our personal vehicle without a trailer detached, it's a personal vehicle, under our name. And then that's when it came up that as far as, well, what if you don't own the property? Well, then they can't bring a truck because
so what if my son is a truck driver?
He lives at your house.
Yeah,
he lives at your house.
He resides there and you own the property.
that's not what it says though. It says he
Well-
must own the property, Alderman.
Well, we don't want to allow rental properties to bring trucks in.
It's-
Before they sold the house next door to me, this guy drove tankers and he had 3 of them parked in front of the house,
Yeah.
on the yard, on top of the septic tank. I mean, you have to draw a line somewhere, and that's when this came about. It was brought up, rental properties. The truck needs to be owned by a resident. We can change it to a resident who owns the property, or family member owns the property. We might be able to go that route, but to allow rental property,
The problem was that people would rent a house just to bring their
just to
tractors.
bring their trucks.
Because it's out here. It's
Yeah.
got room, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. I don't-
It was very, and we weren't tired, well,
Anyways, keep it not personal.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, like, it's hard to, put the twist on it that council decided as far as
Right.
what businesses, there was businesses with, like tons of trucks,
Yeah.
right? And these drivers weren't living in our cities.
Yeah.
So they didn't care, they would speed through and, things like that.
What were you
So-
looking at adding? I know we went straight in the conversation, I missed.
That
the very
only
beginning.
one commercial vehicle may be parked on a residential
Yeah.
property.
Paragraph.
Paragraph
Section
C3.
Added to paragraph D.
But we wanted to put owner,
So,
on C3?
and you wanted to say, may park or leave one unattended.
Oh, actually, under C, we could add a 4
Okay,
and just add, only one commercial vehicle may be parked on residential property.
no more than one.
No more than one commercial vehicle.
I think that's what it says over here.
Per residential lot?
Mhm.
Thank you.
And that's a motion.
A second.
And.
Okay, so,
the- Oh, go ahead.
so, okay, well, let me just put it out there. So the motion is that under section 3, item C, adding now subsection 4, we're gonna add no more than one
Commercial.
commercial motor vehicle, C, and
Per residential lot.
no more than one CMV parked on a residential lot. Is that correct? Am I saying that correctly? Okay,
I just wanna make sure it's read correctly, because if you go from C to straight to 4,
We have
So-
C subsection 1, 2, 3, and now 4.
but 1 is, so 1 or 2 or 3, or how do you want that to read? So
oh,
I just wanna make sure it flows from section C to
I
4,
think it should be
of what you're
and.
intended to say.
I think it should be
And,
right? Because I think and is the final straw, I guess you would say.
Okay.
and for.
Or do we just put it as? like,
And is limited to no more than one commercial
Commercial
motor
vehicle.
vehicle
Per
per
Yeah,
residential
right.
lot.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
and is limited.
And is limited.
I mean, if we want to go a step further, just to clarify what your concern is, your son's driving a vehicle, whatever, somewhere in here, we can put something that under no circumstances will commercial vehicles be parked on rental properties.
Okay, but let me finish this motion. So I have a motion by Alderman Tremblay, and Tom, I think you seconded that.
Yes, I
And a
did.
second by Alderman Rapino, under section 3, section C, subsection now added 4 to read, and is limited to no more than one commercial motor vehicle parked on a residential lot. Sounds good? All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. So why do we have exceptions if we don't allow anything under, over 10,000 pounds?
That's the commercial,
It's a
the
commercial vehicle.
definition of
That's a
the,
commercial
CMV?
vehicle, that's the,
Yeah, so,
Definition.
but the ordinance is to not allow anything over 10,000 pounds, right? Okay, but then we have exceptions to where they can park. Right, am I missing something? Because it says a person may leave unattended a commercial motor vehicle on a residential property.
Well-
So what's the point of the exception?
right, you're thinking the CMV weighs more than 10,000 pounds.
10,001
The-
and more, yeah.
The point was that the commercial motor vehicle without a trailer becomes a personal property of the resident, of the property owner.
Okay,
So we're allowing them to park it on, they have to have a surface, they can't just park it in the sand or in the back or whatever, right? It's specified further.
yeah,
But
it's
that
gotta
was
be
the-
on concrete or something.
That was
right,
the
so
whole
they're
thing that,
utilizing it as their personal vehicle to come to and from work. They're
Yeah.
not bringing the
Okay.
trailer home. This is they dropped their trailer, and now
Out
that's their
there.
personal vehicle, they're coming home in it.
Because what does, and you may not know
They
this, but
made you do
what
that.
does the tractor weigh, right?
yeah,
Does the
well,
tractor
I know
weigh
the
over
truck,
10,000?
yeah,
Well, depending on what type it is, a
Yeah.
Kenworth may,
So it's a Kenworth, right?
yeah, it may weigh, a Kenworth is gonna weigh more than a Peterbilt or vice versa.
Well,
I don't know,
like a
but
Peterbilt
they're not all the
Longos
same.
is 18,000 pounds.
It's 18,000 pounds, right? So by definition, they can't come in.
Right.
But it's in here that it says it becomes a personal vehicle? Okay, I'm just making sure. I understand.
Okay.
Because I believe that the city knows or acknowledge that they had a lot of people or truck drivers that lived in the city and that had lived here since, 30 years, and they always drove it in because, that's their personal vehicle. They have no other vehicle to drive other than their bobtailing home, right?
Yep.
So they allowed for that and told them you can't bring any of the trailers or anything, right? So then the ordinance said, and if it's undetachable, like the dump trucks, you can't bring them in because they can't separate the trailer from their truck. So that's why no dump trucks are allowed, even if they own the property.
Because they could bring it in loaded, because they're gonna go deliver a load the next morning.
Right.
Now what's the weight? You got
Yeah.
the tractor, you got that,
So what about pump
however many,
trucks?
15-yard, dump trucks are not, dump
No,
trucks are
pump.
pump trucks.
Yeah. So it's got a vacuum on it, right? It goes out and pumps things. Right?
It's over 10,000,
So
right?
that's not allowed here anymore. Right?
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yep.
So, you said like the Kenworth bobtail weighs like 18,000 pounds, correct?
Well, Peterbilt.
The Peterbilt, whatever, right? 18,000 pounds. But the box truck, for example, the one that brought this whole question into play, weighs
14,000.
13,000 pounds. But that truck is not gonna be allowed because it has a box, yet it weighs less than the bobtail that is allowed, and they're both belong to the people, and that's both their way of living?
And I have an answer for that.
Okay.
If you go to that house, he has 3 of them inside his property, and
Let's not talk about that, let's just talk about a
Well, he'd get a-
bobtail and a truck.
he'd be
So
allowed
this
one.
Would not be allowed, but
He
this
should-
would be
He'd be allowed
he'd be
one.
allowed
He'd be
one.
allowed one,
One.
even though it's got the box on.
But we're talking about now the dump trucks. You see, this guy, that's with the whole thing, right? Because these dump trucks were conducting business. That box truck that you're talking about, and I have to point it out, that they're conducting business.
Correct. For Amazon. No, I get that. I'm just talking about in general. A box truck would not be allowed, yet a bobtail would, but that bobtail weighs even more and does more damage to the streets than the box truck. But yet it's allowed.
No, it's 5,000 pounds. I mean,
Well, I'm just
yeah,
saying, it's allowed,
Yeah.
but this one is not. That just doesn't
Right.
seem.
right. And because the box is not a trailer.
Right. No, I get the
Supposedly.
reason why. I'm just saying.
Okay, but the
see
dump truck is a trailer. Right, they call it a trailer, dump trailer, right? The definition is the pound or axles or,
Right.
it have different ones.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm talking about like a bobtail that weighs
I-
18,000 pounds and a box truck that weighs 13,000 pounds.
Okay. If he had one, we could discuss it, but what we're talking about is not one.
No, I'm not talking about him, I'm talking in general, a box truck versus a bobtail. The bobtail's allowed, but not the box trailer, correct?
Right. So the configurations here was what? The ones that in the
10,001
photos.
pounds, or 10,001 pounds and more. So that'll put a
So
box
that-
trailer over.
Vehicle configuration of the CMVs. They're detachable or not detachable. The ordinance talks about detachable or non-detachable. In section, after the idling, parking and storage prohibited, the explosive permits. What does it talk about detachable, non-detachable? It says here, permits are valid concurrently. No permit will be issued to hazardous material. No permit will be issued to vehicle if the gross combination axle count exceeds 5. To qualify for a permit, the owner or operator of commercial vehicle must own the property. You see, that's where it says, must own the property the vehicle will reside at. And that's something that we haven't discussed as how are we're gonna enforce if they're a resident first and then attack the CMV part. That's another issue of how I guess they would have to show the registration to that, the same as the house, right? How
Right,
would
they
you?
have to show, when they get the permit, they have to show their,
Because it does say here,
Their
must
license.
own property
So the
the
license is gonna
vehicle
show their
will
address.
reside at. So at this point, that would be the only question. Are we gonna allow the box truck and the dump truck?
If it's their one personal vehicle, right?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
I mean, because at that point, we're giving the right definition, anything over 10,000 pounds, but we're allowing the CMV, the semis, right? And at that point, I guess when this ordinance was made, we have to change it to where it says now, if we have one resident that has one box truck, we have to allow for it,
Yeah.
okay?
I
But-
think,
Yeah, because at that time, there were no box trucks. The issue was the semis, right?
I think a lot of this, and I don't want people running trucking businesses out of personal properties, right? I get that part. But I think we to an extent need to allow people to still have a livelihood.
Right.
And I don't think that was considered when this was initially drafted, right? I mean, I get that there was probably there was a problem, right? I get that part. I don't have any qualms against that, but
Yeah, because we had just become a city,
yeah,
and they had already become a city of big truck owners.
yeah,
And a lot of them would not just bobtail home.
yeah. They bring everything.
Yeah, they
right,
bring it and they,
loaded
you know,
and yeah,
Jake brakes and
so
all
I
that.
get-
So
get
that's the challenge.
Right.
Is that by allowing dump trucks, they're gonna come home at the end of in the evening with a loaded truck, so they get up in the morning and go deliver that load.
yeah,
So, what do?
right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you charge them, right? I mean, if they're gonna make an exception, right? Then we
If
charge
they
them,
want an
right?
exception,
Right.
I guess what you're saying,
Right,
because
like we should have a fee
How
for
do you
allowing
control
to bring
that?
that home,
And,
right?
and initially, there was a $500 fee in the original ordinance. And through the process here of the amendments, it
gone.
was gone. It's gone away. So
I mean,
now,
I think depending on classification, right, you charge them a fee, and then that forces them to either one, pay to be here legally, or then they go to the company that owns the truck that sends them home on call with their vehicle, and they say, hey, I need to pay to park my vehicle. It's $2,000. They're gonna tell you, nope, keep your truck at work, you can drive it.
right, exactly. But if you like a dump truck comes, he brings a load of gravel home with him.
Right,
He gonna dump that load of gravel in the morning for $350.
yeah,
So what's a $500 permit to him?
Right.
It's
Once a
nothing.
year, or whatever
Yeah,
it
it's
is, yeah.
nothing to him.
right.
so every day he comes in loaded, we were trying to avoid damage to our streets.
Sure.
So how do we enforce the loading part?
I mean, I just don't think there's enough eyes in the sky to see it, right? Like realistically, right? Like, I get your point. Realistically, how do we manage that, right? I get it. If we're on patrol and we see a truck loaded coming in, hey, do you have a permit for that vehicle to be here like that, or turn them around, right? That's one way.
Or they're coming into, somebody ordered gravel,
Yeah,
so,
yeah. So then they should have a bill of lading or something, right? That shows,
but are we gonna stop them? Are we gonna,
right? So I mean, that's the hard part, right? Because we're not everywhere.
or say, the parking of many trucks, we can address that. It's obvious, right?
Right, I certainly don't want, a yard next to my house, right? You know what I mean? Like a
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there was, somebody was mentioning that somebody was dumping
Well, I think
mulch, piles of mulch and
Dillon's, right? I
mulch.
think Dillon's was an issue.
And
Yeah.
And they had a whole
Yeah, fleet.
business, yeah. a
fleet
whole fleet.
coming through our town.
Yeah.
And of course, they went away when the first ordinance was $1,500 a year
Yeah.
fee, and they had many trucks, so they quickly said, nah, we don't want to, because we had them in our city limits, right? So at this point, I think it should stay as it reads, that they are a resident, or that.
Which paragraph are you referring to now?
That would be section, the one we just approved, and then, where it goes to,
3?
we just did 3, 4, right?
Yeah,
Only one
3, 4.
CMV. So that itself, doesn't restrict one box truck or one dump truck, right? Or one, as any one CMV. Is that correct?
Yes, that's the way I
By
read it.
adding only one commercial
Yeah.
per lot.
When you're saying only one CMV, so you're allowing for the box truck?
We need to go a
Yeah.
step further and define if we're going to have a fee. We won't charge a fee for the regular tractors.
We
Well,
shouldn't
dump
charge a
trucks, we
fee
know
for anything.
that because the guy with the tractor is not gonna come pulling in with a trailer.
Sure.
We hope he doesn't at
Right,
least.
right, right.
Well, he's not supposed to, right?
You're not supposed to, but if
I'm
we,
still
but
not
if we
clear on
tell,
what section we're talking about right now.
right, well, I had made the motion to approve adding, we did that, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
We
okay,
added
so we-
C4.
So we're done with that. So now we're at limitations. No, we're not even at that part.
Yeah.
Under regulation of,
Permit, section 7?
we'll have to go to permits, but on the limitations, are we clear there
I-
before we move on, or?
I think that would clear us to go to now the restriction of or the permits for, right?
Under D, under section 3, do you all want that last sentence compliance with the subsection is required within 120 days removed, since at the time that was put in effect to give people the time to remedy the situation, and now this ordinance has been in place since 2019.
I make a motion to remove the sentence from section 3, paragraph D, the final sentence, strike compliance with this subsection is required within 120 days of the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay, just that one
Just
line.
removing
Yeah,
it?
it's on one line, yep.
Yes.
All right, we got a motion by Alderwoman Madero to strike compliance with this subsection is required within 120 days of the effective date of this ordinance, and a second by
Okay.
Alderman Rapino. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Aye. Ms. Alvarado?
Yes,
Yes.
aye.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was
No, no,
reading.
you're good. I just want to make sure I got it. All right.
Now, on section 5, this was put in there during research. This routing material, non-hazardous material, or hazardous material, right? Routing. It's supposed to be registered with federal, and it's not. And this is trying to keep hazardous material from coming into our town. But there's no way to do this unless it's registered first with a federal registry. So I don't know if that we went that far as to register it. So I don't know that we can enforce it. Is that correct, Officer?
I'm sorry.
Chief,
I was reading,
but-
I'm sorry.
Yeah, as far as the enforcing of the non-hazardous material route. In my research, it has to be registered with the federal registry as it is a hazardous route, non-hazardous route. So that your truckers can come in with hazardous material like off the highway, right? They're visiting someone, they have hazardous material, and this is restricting them. But as far as this routing is supposed to be registered as with a federal entity. So at that point, could you enforce it? It being our ordinance, is that,
Oh, we
maybe,
just need, then we just need to register, right?
I'm sorry?
If it's in our ordinance, I can enforce it as a city ordinance. Now,
As a
if
city
I can
ordinance.
enforce it as a state violation, I would have to do some research on that. I've never dealt with that before.
Yeah. Cassandra,
You mean they're driving down 37, they have hazardous material, and that's not a hazardous, they can drive hazardous
Yeah.
material on 37.
Yes.
And then they pull into
Our
our
city.
city, and we don't allow hazardous
Right.
material.
and this is
So-
the routing for it.
But we have an ordinance that says you can't bring
Right, within
hazardous
So
so
we're
many
enforcing
feet
it.
of a residence, yeah.
So I do think that the chief could enforce it as a
Ordinance.
city ordinance, but
But,
as,
yeah.
but as to whether I don't know if you can enforce it as anything else, but
Yeah, I would have to research that. I've never dealt with that because I don't know if they have to stay on hazardous.
Yeah.
Designated hazardous
So
material.
the best
roads.
example that I've seen, and I've seen it a lot, is there's an accident on 37. They exit 122 or whatever it is. the
And they
opposite,
come down Priest.
And then they come down Priest to get around the accident, then go to
And
1604.
That is a hazardous route.
Right.
It's listed as a hazardous route.
So,
but
I
that's
mean,
an extraordinary
so
circumstance.
Right. So this allows them to do that.
Correct.
Right? I'm gonna ask you.
It says a non-hazardous material.
I saw
Yeah.
that too.
It
Right.
doesn't say some hazardous material route, it says a non-hazardous material route.
Well, it's a, they're saying no hazardous material route.
Yeah.
You know, that's
The
the
hazardous
intention.
material is in a non-hazardous material route, is what it's trying to
imply, yeah.
imply. And it shouldn't be.
Hazardous material in a non-hazardous route.
In any
So these
case,
roads are
can
non-hazardous
be
material routes,
enforced
they
in
can't
the
have hazardous
city.
materials on these roads. Understood, thank you.
yeah,
So my concern is why.
we can enforce that and get them out of the city.
Yeah, my concern is, I mean, easiest one is Priest Road, right? If we fall over, if we crash, now we've blocked the main thoroughfare. We have residential houses on, mostly on one side, but once you get past the hill, it's on both sides. Why are we allowing caustic material to come down our road?
One thing we can do is put signs up.
Yeah.
No hazardous material allowed.
But you're meaning it's not in here? It's not included here?
Well, no, what I'm saying is, why do we allow hazardous
It
material to
doesn't
go
mean
down
that they'll
Priest?
abide by it, but
Right.
at least they'll know.
Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Yeah, this says we don't allow hazardous material.
Yeah,
It's a
it says
non-hazardous
Priest.
material route.
On Priest Road, it says,
They're not allowed to.
this is a non-hazardous route, so you
Oh,
can't
okay.
bring hazardous in.
Okay,
But
so
if
then,
traffic is
Stop a
being
rig from going
redirected
down
this
Priest
way.
Road if it's already coming down Priest Road.
Oh, I see what you're saying
So
now.
if traffic is being
No, it's being
redirected
rerouted this way.
Yeah.
by order of a police officer now, I believe that it is
Precedence.
temporarily a designated hazardous material
Yes.
road because you are now under the direction of whether it's a fireman, a police officer, some
Emergency.
emergency personnel.
Yeah.
Just like they create these emergency evacuation routes and emergency
Hurricane.
hazardous material routes, whatever the case may be. It is now I don't think we can hold, so if there's an accident on 37, they bring them through here, I don't think we can legally
Can't stop
cite them and hold
Right.
them liable.
It's,
That's
But
an
if it's just a
extraordinary
regular day, if they're traveling down through
circumstance.
hazardous material, we can enforce city ordinance. Can we enforce anything by state law? I'd have to check on that because I don't know if we have to be registered with the state as a non-hazardous material roadway.
Right.
But we have a city ordinance to abide by. We can enforce a city ordinance by all means.
okay.
It's really simple.
Right.
Yes,
Right, yeah.
very simple. We got a law to enforce it.
Okay.
I get it.
So parking and storage, I believe it's fine because it's talking about Division 1 and Division, those are higher hazardous material. So that's fine. Section 7, the permit.
Do we have a permit application form? Or is this another ordinance that we passed without doing the form?
Aren't you going to get some printed
So I have not seen one, but I have been told we have them, yes.
stickers? Weren't you getting some printed?
For
at one
hazardous
time?
material?
Oh,
vehicle?
no,
No.
I thought you
just-
meant for
for the
parking,
Just for
commercial motor
vehicles,
vehicles.
yeah.
Public
Operating or
Works,
storing a commercial vehicle
they have
within the
permits.
city.
No,
I've never seen it.
The
Yeah,
city
but
has.
commercial vehicle, yes.
The commercial, yeah. but
They
not
have, they have the
something
sticker,
with
but not that,
No,
but they're talking about the
commercial. We moved
application.
on to commercial.
Oh, yeah.
We have
We
an,
have
we
We
have,
have, yeah, we have an
This is
application.
what we need.
yeah, they do.
This
Yes.
is what we
we
need
have
to add in
application.
and you have a little
fees,
sticker you
permit
can
Yeah.
fee.
stick in their window?
and
All right,
for
I
the
think
dump
that much good.
And if we wanna give the regular ones a $50 permit,
Yeah.
Yeah,
at
we
least
don't charge.
keep
What,
track.
Something.
what would we issue them for what
Okay,
type of
we don't
animal?
have a fee for this permit,
We're
Correct.
getting there.
so,
We're getting there.
but I did confirm they have the application, they have
Yes.
the sticker, and they've been giving them out for free.
Yes.
But
At the time, it was free.
who would
raffle.
get them?
At the time, it was free.
Who
Sorry?
would get these?
At the
stickers?
time, it was the big trucks, right, the bobtails, because they had no trailers, they could get a permit to park it on their personal property,
Oh, okay.
So
okay?
are we happy with the information that's being required in this permit application? Is this sufficient for us to be able to leave it as it is? Okay.
Yes,
Let's
And they're
not
good for
start
1 year.
charging everybody a fee, for Christ's sake.
We
Well,
are gonna
okay.
designate
I mean,
fee
people
based
gotta
on the
live
type of
too.
vehicle.
So
There's
I would like to change the way sentence G ends.
We're not gonna go just that far. Can we go back to the permits? Oh, you want to see to qualify for the permit,
I'm in paragraph G of the section under permit.
right?
Yep.
To
It
qualify.
ends where the vehicle will reside at. Previously in this, we referenced where the vehicle is parked or stored, so I think we should have that, strike the vehicle will reside at and replace it with where the vehicle will be parked or stored.
Okay.
Just to match what's within, because the vehicle doesn't reside anywhere.
Yeah. Be parked.
Well, that's who that.
Where the vehicle will be parked?
Where the vehicle will be parked
Or stored.
Okay.
And now,
or stored.
do we need to address that they must own the vehicle?
Wait, can we get that fixed first?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Can we get a second?
It says,
I'll have a second. I'll have a second.
All right,
I'll do the
so
second.
I have a motion by Alderwoman Madero and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado to strike from section G, reside at, and insert.
the entire last 5 words, the vehicle will reside at.
Okay.
And replace with where the vehicle will be parked or stored.
Okay.
Must own the property of where
So
the vehicle.
again, the motion is to strike the vehicle will reside at and insert where the vehicle will be parked or stored. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And I have a motion by Alderwoman Madero and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you.
Okay.
So I know you keep talking about owner of the vehicle, but can we just, in order to evaluate the concern the mayor has that his son is parking the vehicle there and address the concern that it's not on rental property, can we somehow update the application to include information of who owns the property where the vehicle will be parked at, who owns the vehicle that's gonna be, who's the owner operator, and then if they don't agree, deny the permit?
I have a solution to that. The vehicle's gotta be registered to that property, your registration to the vehicle, license plate. It could be, so now you've
But
eliminated.
it's a renter though.
It's a what?
But what if I'm a renter?
Well, that eliminates. their
You can't
concern
bring
about
it
the
up if you're a renter.
but-
No, but the point is that even if I rent this house and I register the truck at that house, it kind of washes out your
But what
point.
if you don't own the truck, you're driving for somebody else that owns it?
That's what we're trying to get, so we don't want Halliburton's trucks all being brought in here, or, whoever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, G says to qualify the permit, the owner of it says owner operator of the commercial vehicle must own the property where the vehicle is parked. And what the chief is saying will
It
address
will not
that.
work.
and-
No, it will not.
Let me finish.
Because, well, no, but, okay, go ahead.
The vehicle on the registration of the vehicle must show that the vehicle is registered to an occupant at that address, something like that.
The address is correct.
Right, but to his point that I just made is that
The house is rented.
if I rent my house, right, I can also register my truck to that house. So then we've not done
Right,
anything here.
right.
So then it's
So
not
we
gonna
gotta,
work. So it's gotta be
Oh, on the
clarified.
application, we're registering it to the house.
Right.
And you are the owner.
Well, I'm not the owner, right?
I
I'm the
mean,
renter
you're
of
the
that house,
owner
but
of
I
the
own my
vehicle.
truck, so I can register it to that house because I live there. But that doesn't prove that you're the owner. It's gotta be like BCAD, like we have to do the research, right?
Right.
So I think that has to state that we will confirm.
So if your son comes for a permit and he shows his license and he shows his registration, his license shows that he lives there,
Right.
and the registration of
I'd
the
have to-
vehicle.
I'd have
and
to
his
go with him.
license.
Yeah.
Because that property's gonna say,
renting.
it's Mike, well, no, now we're saying I'm the owner, right? That property's gonna say Michael Martinez, but his truck and his license is gonna say Liam
Right.
Martinez.
But
So
we-
then,
we
so now,
need- If
on
you
our
look-
side, it doesn't match.
If you
It's not
look
gonna
under
work.
section H now, okay,
Uh-huh.
approval or denial of a permit shall be at the discretion of the city administrator based on submission of an acceptable application. I wouldn't expect that you would start giving permits to renters. I mean, this is our only means of control.
Right.
Right, protecting our
Right.
streets. So if an applicant comes in and has that situation, you can give that direction to the secretary, city secretary, if she's issuing the permits. If they come in, they're a family member, they live there, we can
Prove that they
verify
live
that
there.
that their parents own the
Yep.
property, then we will issue the permit. I don't think we want to go as far as to get into relatives and this and that in the.
Or renters.
In the ordinance. I think that section right there gives the city administrator the approval, power, if you will.
For an acceptable application.
Yeah, I just,
So you're saying that instead of the, commercial vehicle must own the property, so you're just saying they
Right.
just need to be a resident at the property?
We'll give it, that call needs to be made by, it can be made by, I don't think we're gonna have a whole bunch of people that are gonna come in with those
Yeah.
But that
situations.
will address the son issue, the relative issue, while still allowing an opportunity to prevent the renters from bringing it in.
Exactly.
So, okay, that makes sense.
Now, do we have a permit fee?
The permit
Wait,
fees,
we
I
didn't-
think
We didn't actually
I'm sorry.
change anything yet, so.
Right, I don't think we need to change anything.
But-
They're only that to be parked and stored, that the property will be,
It currently says the commercial vehicle must own the property. So based on what you just said, it sounds like you're happy with instead of must own the property.
That's
must
an
reside
extenuating
at the
circumstance that the mayor would decide on. We can't have that?
yeah, rather than change it, I'd say the next paragraph, the next line there says that the city administrator approves or
Approval
denies
or
the permit.
denial.
So if they bring
property.
one,
So you
like
don't
city,
wanna, can we do that, Cassandra, leave it as a
Just leave it
requirement
as
that
is.
they own? And then just allow the mayor to ignore whatever?
if they come in with that argument, then he can, or the
Is there an
secretary will have the
exception that we
authority
can
to
have?
make that decision.
I may need to come back with how to make that distinction, because
You don't wanna,
G says they own, and then H says, yeah, so it could be, I just don't wanna create any favorability issues.
So if
discrimination
something's-
issues.
Something like
Later.
exceptions will be made on a case-by-case basis for family members.
Why don't we let her come up with something?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
even know if I like the family member.
Yeah.
No, it
exclusion.
doesn't sound
it
right.
can't be,
Yeah.
specific,
Favoritism,
yeah.
I would just recommend that we let her come back with
Okay.
something to fix H. And I also think that she should fix H to say city administrator or designee, or however we normally do that in
Correct.
ordinances.
And or
you wanna make that a
designee.
motion?
Make a motion that we allow our city attorney to go rewrite H to capture the essence of what we're trying to do, to allow some discretion in the city administrator decision to approve the application.
With the wording, also to be
reflect or designate.
designee.
I'll
Yes.
second.
Okay, so I got a motion by Alderwoman Madero and a second by Alderman Rapino to instruct the city attorney to address section
H.
H, to accomplish what we're trying to convey and add in or designee after city administrator. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed,
What section?
all right.
H.
So
Oh,
I have
7H.
one question
Not-
about something you
not
mentioned
section H.
earlier, Alderman Tremblay.
Section 7.
You mentioned a concern about the statement that combination vehicles aren't allowed in the city, but the definition of commercial vehicle said combination. Is there something in this ordinance that says combination vehicles aren't allowed, or is that something we need to consider adding to address your concern with that?
I think we have the axles is defined, so if you've got, in excess
Five,
of,
it said five.
5.
5, yeah. 13 feet or higher, road tractor.
I just want to make sure we're addressing your concern, given that we incorporated the entire definition.
I think it's in 3 regulations of parking.
Yeah,
A person may park or leave unattended a commercial vehicle on residential property located within a residential subdivision, a road restriction or a street within residential subdivision if is transporting persons or property. Those are like your buses, right? That are allowed to come through. Transporting persons or property to or from residential subdivision or performing work in subdivision and remains parked in or adjacent to the subdivision only for a period necessary to complete transportation or work, or is a vehicle owned by a utility that an employee of the utility who is on call 24 hours a day parks at the employee's residence, or I think that's where the situation came up, right?
yeah, well, and then you've got, defensive restriction, okay.
And then 3 says, is the tractor unit of a detachable unit?
Right, it's a
and
tractor
park-
unit of a detachable, so that's where it omits,
Where it
Combination.
specifies
Okay,
combinations.
just so you're, that's addressed in here, because it was a concern. I'm sorry, you can go back to the permanent section, I know we're not done with that.
Okay,
It just occurred to me that
Okay. we did,
we did put that whole definition in there.
okay. So in the permit section, do we want to add an I to require a permit fee?
yes,
No,
Yes, I think we need a permit fee, and I think we need to reference it as being posted in the master fee schedule.
I
Yes.
don't think we need a permit fee.
we need a fee, we talked about the dump trucks and trying to
And the box trucks.
Get- to compensate the city for road damage, and even allowing, if we're gonna allow one dump truck, we know they're gonna bring a load in, they're gonna do it,
We can
so,
specify the fee goes to the road maintenance fund.
sure, but the regular.
Do we have a road maintenance fund?
I don't know, do we,
There's
Mayor?
there's budget allocated to road repairs every year. Not a lot, but
So
I
now,
know, I'm sure that our public works director would appreciate some more money to fill those potholes.
as far as the fee, do we want set one set fee for,
No, needs to
or
be separate,
different for
right,
the,
If we have a
Based
road
on
maintenance
Semi-
fund,
axles, what?
I might agree. And
we go by
if
the
we can
tractors,
ensure
the
the money
tractors,
goes there,
when you talk about
Type-
combination, the
type-
tractor, the
the
bobtail,
type,
is that what
the
you call it,
type, the
bobtail?
configuration? Yeah, the configuration.
Not weight.
yeah,
Well, because
No.
it's between,
Oh, because everything's
it's
gotta be
more
less than
than,
10,000 pounds anyway.
But we know the dump trucks are gonna, that's what I'm saying, I would think that the fee would be substantially higher for dump trucks.
Yeah,
So for bobtails, I would,
so we could say
It's not
bobtail?
bobtail,
but
graduate
shouldn't we
the
not,
fees.
shouldn't we not do it in here?
No,
Shouldn't it say in the master fee schedule?
well, we need to set them here and it needs to go into the master.
We've never got,
No, you just wanna list it into the master fee,
so just say that
not
there's
by
a fee.
ordinance?
right,
Just say that there's a fee.
right, well, I don't know, I think we've done it like that before, where we
the
say,
animal control ordinance has it in the ordinance as
ordinance.
well
Those are
as
listed one
in
for
the
one.
fee schedule, but then we run into the problem like we had now, where we're making
But
these
we
changes
forgot.
to the master fee schedule,
Right.
but now we have to go back and
Go-
fetch the animal
right.
control
So I
ordinance.
think
I
we
think
should-
it's cleaner if we only have them in one place. But we can list out that there'll be a fees listed in the master fee schedule based on vehicle types such as, and then list out the examples, some sort of sentence like that, that would allow you to
It's a
capture.
good start to a motion.
Well, I don't know what the vehicles are, so I didn't wanna do the motion.
Yeah,
Well, if you just list it as, we can come back to the master fee schedule and do it, but.
All right, then I make a motion that we add paragraph I that says permit fee will be listed in the master fee schedule.
yeah, I'm writing it down. Thank you, though. I have a motion by Alderwoman Modero and a second by
I'll second.
Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado to add in, under 7, add in section I, permit fee will be listed in the master fee schedule. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right,
Right.
I do have a question For the attorney. You know, anything that strikes you as far as what we're asking you to come back for as far as family members or whatever? 'Cause I'd like to get this done so that we can have it done and do the first reading on the next meeting. Otherwise, we're putting this off and we just keep putting it off.
Well, I thought this could be where this is considered the first reading.
We're
come back
doing
for
the amendment.
second.
This is
Yeah.
an amendment.
But it could be the first reading of the ordinance with the amendments.
We
That's-
just,
Yeah, this is the
Okay.
we
first
have to get it
reading.
posted within 24 hours though, based on our ordinance. The next business day after the first reading, we post it for,
Okay, I could probably send that with the amendments. Well, not with G. Questions? No,
Oh,
I think I
no.
just, it may require some changes to G and H. I just need to figure out how, I guess how that operator would be defined and where they reside. So I may need to do a little research into it.
Okay.
but you'll be able to have that in time for our next meeting though, and we can do our
Yes.
first reading at the next meeting is, I think, what Alderman Tremblay was asking.
Yes, or you could also still waive the first reading since a lot of discussion has been done today, if that's.
Okay.
And just because we're imposing fees, I'd like to get it posted for the citizens to look at for a couple weeks before we actually
And
officially.
And isn't it supposed to be
Published.
posted in
It'll
the
have to be
newspaper?
published.
No, it's posted in the paper after we pass it, after the second reading. They post it in the paper twice, and then it's officially in effect
That's
once we
right.
get the affidavit from the paper.
Right, I remember. Okay.
Big money.
I know, right?
What? Which one?
He's done doing numbers.
Why don't we just do a 10% fee off of their gross weight? Hey, you wanna make it
Well,
hard?
that's, I mean, it's the gross weight, like I say, on a dump truck, how do you do that on a dump truck?
Well, dump truck's 15,000 pounds, right? 10%, $1,500.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. I know it is. But you've already pushed them out.
Okay, that's for the permit for the year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Every year?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's not a lot. That's $150, less than $150 a month. Where are you gonna go park your truck at for less than $150 a month?
Well,
Well,
there's-
I mean, you tell me because you.
no, well, there's parking for 100.
Is there? That's rather affordable.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we're too far. Maybe it's 5%, right?
Well, it's
Do
Based on
5%.
the- on
5%
gross
would be
weight.
probably 5%
Yeah.
of the
Right. So
gross weight.
that's that $10,000 truck.
Based on
10,000.
How much is a dump truck weigh?
Based on their registration, so
15,000.
that's where we're
Right.
gonna get it off of, is their registration with
Right.
the
So on that $10,000
GVWRs.
truck, 10,000 pound truck, it's $500.
Now,
More like it. Mhm.
since there's only one allowed in each resident,
Mhm.
now are we gonna have all those dump trucks that left come back?
We're gonna allow one, right?
One,
Right.
and with the annual fee?
With the annual fee.
Okay.
And there's dump trucks driving through our town to go work
Anyway.
at the end of Waterwood Pass.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
need a
that- there's
fee in
that-
order, they need
Well-
to pay the certificate to enter our town.
I can find you 3, maybe 4 that are regulars that live here that come back
Well,
and
I'm,
forth.
I'm just trying to
But I'm
address some of the
saying-
concerns that were brought up.
Yeah.
I mean, are we
Well, we
gonna have to
have to
make
let-
them,
they're-
are they captured in this
No,
as
they're-
just driving through town? I
No,
think
it's
this
just-
doesn't count them
No,
if
they're
they're
not
just
counted,
delivering.
they're not.
They're
not-
delivering.
They're
Yeah.
delivering.
Yeah,
Every
so
truck.
they're not included,
Right.
so they don't have to pay a fee.
But I think we were gonna discuss something with the builder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that should be.
so then the motion is to do
A fee will be based on 5% of the GVWR of the commercial vehicle, annual fee.
GVWR as listed on the
On the registration.
vehicle
Registration.
registration.
Where's that at? Under.
It'll be on
It's not
I,
in the fee schedule right
It'll
now,
be
but
s-
it would be item,
item I.
Oh, it'll be in the.
Yeah,
it's
it'll be in the
for
fee
I,
schedule.
But it's for the fee schedule. Okay.
right,
All right. So 5%
GV.
of GVWR. Okay. So the motion. You made the motion, Alderwoman, or
No,
did
he-
David?
I was asking him what it was.
Oh, did anybody make the motion?
I'll make a motion,
Okay.
sure. Fees will be listed in the master fee schedule based on a 5% annual fee
Wait,
The GVW,
of the
Are you
GVW.
saying that's gonna be in the ordinance, or are you just saying what's going in the master?
He's gonna-
on the master fee.
Master fee.
Okay.
It's for the
Okay,
master fee.
sorry.
All right. So I have a motion from Alderman Tremblay to create a fee in the master fee schedule of a 5% annual fee of the GVWR based off of the registration of the vehicle,
Commercial vehicle.
commercial vehicle. Yep. And I have a second by
Second,
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
I'm opposed.
You're opposed, 3-1. Sorry, Tom. But I got you. I hear you.
Okay.
Everybody's allowed.
Yep.
Are we done?
Okay, I think we're done.
Well, if y'all want this to be the first read, having changes incorporated, well, I've been trying to think about, 7G and H to G, and some thinking out loud here. If y'all want to add, the owner operator of a commercial vehicle must own the property where the vehicle will be parked or stored, or have permission from the owner of the property where the vehicle, if they do not, something along the lines of where they do not own the property.
Still, no.
And
Because
then
then,
HB, the city administrator has the discretion.
Yeah, guess, yeah, just if they have permission, then you've got people
Yeah,
gonna
but then
allow
they-
their buddy
Or-
to bring their truck. you know.
Regardless of meeting all the qualifications, the city administrator or designee still
has
has
the capability to deny the permit.
discretion to accept or deny the application.
How do I prove my son is mine?
So,
DNA test.
Well, again, the application should show that his license, his license is proof that he resides there, as well as the registration of the vehicle
Birth
shows that he
certificate.
resides. So,
Yeah, I mean, I just,
it's, yeah.
it's certainly
Yeah.
discretionary. I mean, like,
I mean, he was just asking if you could have it ready for the first reading at the next meeting, so I think we're fine if you take some time to make sure you
Yeah.
get that right.
I'll let
I'd
you
rather.
do the research and let's get it right. Okay.
And we'll do the first reading. We'll still have it on the streets by the end of the month, end of
Yeah.
February.
Mhm.
First reading at the beginning, second reading at the end. And we're almost
So do we need a motion to approve the amendments that were done today? Well, we did each one.
we did
there. We
each
did
one,
each one individually.
and we're not approving it just yet, because we still.
Okay.
So, yeah,
So this will still be on the next one.
that'll be on the next, for the approval of everything with everything.
okay,
All right.
moving along.
Draft agreement.
All right. Okay, item G, discuss enter possible action on a change in compensation for public works employees, city secretary, court clerk, and police department corporal. Is that documented here? Selma, did you print out that sheet?
I didn't get it.
No,
No?
It is not in the package.
Yeah, I messaged you to put it to, in the afternoon to put it on. But it was basically the same sheet that we were looking at last time, so.
Right.
and
so
the
we
reason
were-
you put it here was because it wasn't on the agenda
Right.
to discuss.
Right. So really, we've already agreed on it. Well, we talked about it,
Yeah.
I guess, let me rephrase that.
Agreed in executive session.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So, if you wanna
you're
make.
talking about this?
Yes. So those are the same numbers that we discussed in the last one. It just wasn't added to the.
Okay, so the motion, if you guys don't mind, I have
Go
it here
ahead.
on my phone.
You don't have to talk to the numbers. We can.
So can I just say the percentage, or do I just say the pay raise?
Based on the cost of living and merit increases.
Dis- yeah,
Okay.
discuss in executive session.
Do I need to list out all these people on here?
No.
Okay, so, my first time doing this kind of motion. So, I make a motion that we provide a cost of living and merit increase as agreed and discussed in the executive session at the last council meeting to increase compensation for public works employees, city secretary, court clerk, and police department corporal.
Second.
What is that percentage?
Yeah, there's percentages,
Or-
yeah, so that's what I was asking, do I need to say what these percentages are?
Percentage or what the increase is actually going to be for each.
Yeah, so I need that in the motion too? Okay, so I will go through each one of these then. All right, so I make a motion for a 3%, do I need to do them individually, or can I just say what the total amount is?
You can either do the type.
They're different, I
Because
believe.
it's COLA and merit, and then he's got the totals combined here.
Oh, you can do the total.
Okay, so I make a motion for a 6% increase for Adrian Castillo, a 3% increase for Delma Doyle, a 3% increase for Catherine Yelton, a 9% increase for Priscilla Schmidt, an 11% increase for Mike Avendano.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, don't know how to say his last name. A 3% increase for Jacob Canales, and a 3% increase for Ashley Cunningham.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, so I have a motion by Alderwoman Madero and a second by Alderman Rapino to accept the 6, 3, 3, 9, 11, 3, and 3% increase for the Public Works employees, city secretary, court clerk, and police department corporal. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? All right. All right, discuss under possible action on grievance filed by court clerk Catherine Yelton. So that should be in here. If not, it was presented at the last one, at the last meeting, but basically it was her explanation as to why we should not accept the write-up that was presented. So that is what we were discussing today. Is it in your packet?
I don't have it, but we did vote on.
There it is here.
We already,
Well, right, we voted on it.
No,
but
he hasn't.
she has a grievance. She has a,
passed, she agreed on it at the time.
she did not agree to it, right? She agreed to accept it.
Right.
And then she has the ability to file a grievance against it. So that's what, do we want to still allow it to go through, or do we want to change our mind?
Her request is
To
that the
allow-
write-up be dismissed and removed from her personnel file.
Correct.
Is what it is.
so she's requesting that
That it be removed?
she not be on probation?
No, that she
No,
not
just-
be getting the text.
Grievance. Yeah,
The one,
write-up.
the write-up for
Oh.
the text message.
To be in her file?
Right,
Oh,
yeah.
But the portion of whatever else was discussed and the performance improvement plan was initiated remains in effect.
Right, all
Correct.
that remains in effect except for the write-up.
Except for the write-up for the text message.
And so within the text.
but how
message-
can she be on probation if she's removing the write-up?
Can be on probation for any reason.
But for the write-up, why should it be removed? She was written up. That's why she's on probation.
Not necessarily.
No,
But that's-
we discussed that write-up was not,
But it is harassment.
and
By
then
definition-
it was the history of all the other things that were in her record that led to her needing to be on a 6-month
Probation,
performance improvement.
yeah. I'm for doing away with the write-up.
Is that your motion?
Yeah, okay, I'll make that motion that we dismiss
Can I
the
just read
write-up.
something real quick?
Sure.
Policy on discipline. The mayor shall have the authority to discipline any employee who violates the city's policies or rules, abuses the benefits or privileges provided by the city, affects the efficient operation of any city function, either through action or inaction, or who brings negative attention to the city. Based on the severity of the action, discipline may consist of a verbal reprimand, written reprimand, probation, suspension, with or without pay, or termination of employment. 3, written reports by a supervisor within a year will result in council action. So,
Well, that wasn't the
negative,
basis of the
what, but the
write-up.
negative attention to the city is such.
But it was only between two old friends.
No, there weren't, everybody keeps referring to old friends. I mean, that's not the point.
Oh, it was,
Well, okay, hang on. I do have a motion on the floor. Let me at least throw that out.
yeah.
So I have a motion by Alderman Rapino to remove the write-up related to the text messages.
I'll
Can I-
second
can I have
it, so
a
we can
second?
discuss it.
Okay.
yeah.
So I do have a first by Alderman Rapino and a second by Alderwoman Madero. All right, now this is up for discussion.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
There's 2 instances in our policy. The policy on alcohol and drug use, and the policy on social media policy.
The text
I'm
message is neither of those.
No, but I'm not quoting these because they're on the agenda. I'm quoting it as instances where we have used our authority to bring attention to off-duty conduct. So it's not unheard of, and it becomes a problem when it spills into the work environment. So I don't see why
So
we should remove the grievance.
case in
the
point,
written-
right, if any of us, if any employee was saw drinking at somewhere and was drunk and stumbling and doing this and that, that is negative attention to the city. So therefore, even though it's external, it is now internal because it affects.
What if you're drunk stumbling in your own living room?
Nobody sees it.
Nobody's.
Then sending a text message from your personal cell phone from your living room is the same thing. She
No,
wasn't-
because it affects another person now.
Because you can't say, or a reasonable person could not say that it wasn't gonna do that. That wasn't the effect that was gonna happen for her doing that. It wasn't innocent.
I don't see those two things as, although it was reprehensible, I agree that her comments were reprehensible. I do see it as being between two people, just as if I had cussed out
Me,
Monica there.
me, say me.
Or I always cuss you out.
That's true. It's true. Ask for money.
But I just see it as,
Well, like in our social media
it
policies,
wasn't in public.
it says, while the city encourages its personnel to enjoy and make good use of their off-duty time, certain activities on the part of its personnel may become a problem if they have the effect of impairing the work of any official or employee, harassing, demeaning, or creating a hostile working environment, disrupting the smooth and orderly flow of work, or harming the good will and reputation of the city among its citizens or in the community.
And I think you stopped there, right? Because I think it summed it up at the very first sentence is that if it affects the other employees. Granted, now that's the social media policy.
Right.
But still, if somebody can say something online and it affects other employees, certainly somebody can say something via text and affects other employees. I'm not an HR expert, but I think,
I have to agree with that, yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
Well, let's vote on it then.
Okay,
Yeah.
I made
so
the
let's-
motion and,
Yep, so we do have a motion. Let's go ahead and vote on that. All those in favor say aye.
I,
All
Aye.
those opposed?
On-
Wait,
On his?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, no. It's like,
All
what,
those-
what are we doing?
all right, all those, so the motion was to strike or to remove the write-up, right?
No.
So all those in favor say aye. I do have Monica, or Alderwoman Madero and Alderman Rapino. All those against? I have
so
Alderman
you
Tremblay. and-
you have to make
See,
the
but I
decision.
can't on that,
You
right?
have to,
Why
You have to.
Because I wrote it up.
doesn't matter.
Oh.
Fillinger wasn't here? Fillinger's not here?
Okay.
So it's dead in,
It's up to you. You have to make you're the tiebreaker.
yeah. It's a
leave
conflict
it.
of interest. I don't know what
I'm gonna
what
vote,
does-
I'm gonna vote against.
Okay,
So I'm gonna vote against it.
so it
So it
stays in
fails.
effect,
Right,
yeah.
so it'll stay in effect.
So that's settled. Let's move on.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so now we're gonna address two items. Executive session to discuss, deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property from the city of San Antonio for annexation of a new subdivision at the end of Waterwood pursuant to Texas Open Meeting Act, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Section 551.072, deliberations regarding real property, as well as item K, K. Okay, executive session to deliberate the hiring of patrol officers and related matters pursuant to Texas Open Meeting Act, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, personnel matters. Time is now 9 o'clock. We are in executive session.
Record.
Recording in progress.
Okay, the time is now 9:16. We are back in session. All right, so now let's jump to agenda item J, discuss under possible action on the purchase, exchange, lease of value or real property from the city of San Antonio for annexation of a new subdivision at the end of Waterwood Passing. You have the floor.
Passing.
Passing.
Waterwood Passing, that's what it says.
And I recommend we do no
Waterwood
action
Pass.
at this time and wait for a response from the city,
City of San Antonio.
the city of San Antonio. Yes, I'm,
So no initial offer.
no.
Okay.
No initial.
So then the motion from Alderwoman Madero is to not make an initial offer to the city of San Antonio for the subdivision annexation at the end of Waterwood Pass. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Alderman Rapino. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. Moving right along to agenda item L, discuss.
Go ahead.
Discuss and possible action on hiring a patrol officer and related matters.
I make a motion that we hire
Second.
Mark Porche as a patrol officer at $40,000 a year to begin, when would he start, Chief?
Well, just waiting on his secure share results come in. Everything else has been done, so just like a couple of agencies that have not responded or the internet, and I just can't do the final thing until they.
Well, to begin at, once
The
the chief
completion.
completes
If you
the
would
check.
repeat what that salary was, please. I think you said 40,000.
48.
48,000,
48.
thank you, sorry. 48,000.
Okay, so I have a motion by Alderwoman Madero and a second by Alderman Rapino to make an offer to Mark Porche. Is that what you said?
Porsche, like Porsche.
Yep. Porche for $48,000 for the position of patrolman for a 1-year probation, beginning at the completion of the chief's completion of his background check. Is that right? Sure. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. All right, that passes.
I move to adjourn.
It is now 9:19. We are adjourned.
I think he's going to talk to someone.
Recording stopped.
3 bond
Darren
runners in a
muted.
row.
Yes, so for offer to San Antonio. The thing is that the property land, there's no other way to go about it. They're not receiving any property value taxes right now. And then if they did want to finish it, they would have to use our roads, so maybe.
So, the animal control ordinance? So, Ashley wants to add the
If we wanna
some stuff
respond
about
back
goats,
to
but that's
the
not as important right now as getting, I think we should remove the ability to have dangerous
You need to tell
dogs.
us what you want first and then we go.
Yes, we shouldn't allow dangerous dogs, because a dangerous dog is defined as someone that's attacked a person. So, but we contradicted ourselves in the ordinance, we had no choice, we have one dangerous dog registered in the city. So, what I wanna do is bring to the next meeting that we remove the allowance to have a dangerous dog. Anyone with a currently registered dangerous dog is allowed to keep it as long as they're still in compliance with all,
From this point forward,
remain in compliance with all related ordinances.
but from this point forward, we're not
No
allowing them.
more.
Yeah. The requirements don't even allow them. I mean, Dalmatians are
You can
dangerous
find it,
dogs.
yeah.
And I think we need to remove, call animal control to pick up a dead animal on your property.
Because I
Take care of your own dead animal. Bury him. We're out of the country. I don't care. But it says you can call for assistance.
No.
So that's what I want to bring at the next meeting, is to get rid of them.
They were trying to do it, animal control.
No.
Put them on calm reasons.
Oh, bullshit.
I know, I told them, no, Ashley, you stand by them.
No,
I
she
said-
doesn't.
And they said, well, you're gonna have to at least answer your phone because the new patrol woman, she might have questions, she doesn't know anything about animal control.
if they do.
The last
Well,
belief.
being able to answer the phone is one thing, just
Yeah,
don't make them come in.
that's what I told them. I said, there's no way they're gonna come out at 3 o'clock in the morning. They have guns, they don't need them.
Yeah, that's true. Just shoot the dog if you can't stop it. So, and then she wants to add
Yeah. Cause I mean, it's plotted
No
now, I
more than
think.
2 goats per
So, I
property.
mean-
And
I
I know
would
that's been a debate
figure-
going on through here.
I would,
If they're
But
gonna do mobiles,
it's
or
just
they do actually
work for her.
houses,
It is,
and
but
each
she
house
goes-
could be $250,000.
What if they have
and-
babies? Now they have 4.
So we already talked about
Because
that.
when
No,
the-
you're still only
because
allowed 2
even the-
goats. If you have more,
That's what I'm saying.
then you have until,
This developer doesn't.
that's just it. You have to you
No,
have
they
to
don't.
notify animal control via
Yes, I was
email.
like, I was thinking.
Orange,
there
That your,
was just-
that your goat had
that your
babies.
goat is,
I was just-
yeah.
those would not
And then
be
you
taxed
have
on this, because why would they
until
want to
that
incur
goat
those
is
property taxes from anything?
10 weeks old.
Unless they're.
To get the
forced to.
babies, and 10 weeks old have to be gotten rid of by the time
Or
they're
keep the
10 weeks
babies and
old.
give her the.
But-
Right, but
Whatever.
that's gonna
I think they
require
may
more
still
work,
be
so I
getting
wanna
services
dig into
from
that in
the county.
details with her and go over all the
Yeah.
details and worry
I would
about
think
having
there's
that
still,
later,
they're
because I know it's a
in
hot topic
unincorporated
here.
Bear County, even though
Yeah.
they're
And
in
she's
the
doing
city.
pretty good with keeping,
She's doing really
They're not
good.
and
in
her and
San
Cassandra,
Cassandra is.
and if they wanna
Just
take it
follow the
on, then I say
DTJ.
we as a city council owe it to them to discuss it.
We owe it
Is there
to them
one
to back
property owner?
them up.
Yep.
The sheep is
Fly,
riding them up.
whatever it's
So,
called.
Yeah,
you can
so,
petition to the
so I'm
city,
trying
and
to,
the city
she's
would
got
have
some
to
sort
San
of,
Antonio, and they would have to take action to
grant stuff she's looking
Yeah.
into. I told her to go register on the
We
Bissell
would just
site,
also
cause she can
have to
register her
process
animal
product,
control
having
thing.
some
So I,
sort of
I wanna,
understanding or
I wanna bring
agreement
to the mayor, so
that
I'm gonna
they-
send him an email
that they will allow us
and
to
telling him that
pass
at the
that.
council meeting, that we wanna talk about, the animal control ordinance.
You think that they would
And
want
those
to
are the
be
two things I wanna
telling,
talk
Yeah.
about now. And
they
then,
build houses or
just
homes,
mention
whatever, they
to
need
police,
let-
uh,
release,
know that we'll be
disclose
bringing back at a later date,
what city
some
tax, if they're gonna get
guidance
city
for
taxes, if they
goats,
release it.
that we're not ready to present
San
that now.
Antonio jumps on it
Well,
before
how do
we
you
do.
feel about
Or,
the
and I'll say
donations
jump
being
on,
under
but
the
if,
general?
you know, how is
Donations
it,
for what?
you know, gonna fall into play? It's either San Antonio, San Diego, or just unincorporated Bear County.
If they're donating to animal control, that's where the funds should
No,
go.
Yeah.
It should be specific.
Because
Rupina,
now they need, it's a lot harder.
Rupina had
for home
told
rules
Ashley,
to
here's
annex. So
$300
if
for
the
dog food
property
because
owner's
we
not
had just
giving
gotten a
them
whole bunch of dogs.
that permission, they're gonna have a hard time annexing.
He should've just went and bought the dog food and gave it to her.
Then we could
Yeah,
probably
so-
annex them easier.
Before they start
Yeah.
selling
Just
homes.
like,
'Cause
just like
once
the
they start
permit
selling
fee for
homes,
the vehicle
homeowners
registration,
will have
dedicated to the road fund, if that's what it's used
Yeah,
for. We
let's-
need to be
yes.
better stewards
We
of our
need,
money.
either,
we need a
yeah,
budget
petition,
line for donations
I can't remember,
for
if it's 50%
animal control.
or.
Because at the end of the year, they told,
Yeah, that was passed.
Mayor, just
quite
put
a
it in
few
the
years
general
back.
fund.
Okay.
And there's like $600 that she
I
never
was
got to
thinking,
use.
it was, I think it was just after
Who
we,
decides where that money
after, I mean,
goes?
after we incorporated.
I don't know who told him that.
Do you? Do
That
they
does
want
not
us
make
to do the
sense.
There
work
should be a rule,
with the city, with the.
there should be a
San-
rule
Say it again?
Do they want us to
for
do the work for them?
donations. They go to that
Flyer?
department.
Property owner?
I guess, yeah.
If someone says this
Well,
donation
I don't know if they
is for,
said
it's
they-
like if you're
they
giving to the
want
combined
us
federal
to do it, but
campaign, you're giving to
I kinda
this
got the same idea
organization.
that they don't know
It
what they're
shouldn't be
doing.
haphazard, they're
Which
donating
is
to
why
a
I was like,
specific
well,
aspect of the
this
city.
email went,
Because she says I
"Does
could
this
do
work?"
stuff with that money,
So-
like buy more blankets or buy more collars or whatever.
Talking to
And not take
Priscilla,
out on my,
she's just like, well, we're not
like
just
when
gonna
a dog
release the
comes in
property
that is pregnant and has
without
puppies, now
something
she
in
won't turn
return.
it on.
And
You know, things like that, you know, so it's
Tell
like,
her-
200
next
fucking
time,
miles of
either donate the
San
dog
Antonio
Or give it
You're worried about
from
20
Petco.
houses,
Really?
yeah, but,
Or
yeah,
chew it
that's,
somewhere.
And I don't know
I like to
what
fish chips
San
like that.
Antonio.
yeah.
What do they want?
Yeah.
That there's two
You have to
funds
give-
that
what do
the
we have to
secretary-
I mean, I can forecast revenue all day.
Yeah,
Yeah, she always
She
reports
said, well,
two
doesn't need to
funds.
be a portion tax.
I just- I don't-
like,
I'm
1%
trying to look
tax,
at all
it
the
should be
expenses
a
and
piece of
stuff.
mill.
Yeah.
So I was thinking.
And-
Hey,
I mean,
look
I got
at
a
that.
2002 Ford Focus they can have.
Yeah,
but
where is the
call
line
in.
item? Where is the
What
report
else?
that
I asked
says,
her for some
we've
examples.
What do you
spent-
give them?
And
What do
she
we
just
give
said-
them
I mean, all these
Creek Road?
Amazon,
Does it come
what,
up with
what the hell does that mean? I
Give
need
them
more
Creek Road.
details than we spent $200 on Amazon.
Sure they
this
want
And
month.
each one has a credit card. Each department.
But yeah, that
has a
may,
credit card.
Yeah.
They
the
order
only
from
thing we could
Amazon,
give
we
them would be a
order from-
percentage of
And
the
her
tax revenue
tax,
for
I'd like to
a
know.
year, 2 years.
Where's
or
the
something.
Amazon reports?
Um,
Where's the
but until
expenditures?
you know
Where's the
what
credit
type
card
of
reports?
houses,
Well, she used to take care
what
of it
kind
all.
of.
Is there a
yeah,
city
they're gonna build
Amazon
houses,
account?
or they're gonna
Does
put
everyone order
mobiles?
from the same
What kind of
Amazon
tax
Yes.
revenue we looking at?
That was another thing.
He just said yes. So now we can go in and
Did
get
they-
into the order
Did they
history.
even give you an idea? Are they gonna build homes or are they gonna do
Yeah,
modulars?
so just go in and look at the order
I
history.
thought it was homes, but I don't think they've iced out one.
Yeah, you see, and then sometimes they would send her to go buy stuff for the police department.
Just
So,
kind
you
of-
know, it's
need
all
What do you want?
mixed up in there.
Yeah, so I've had more than one citizen ask me
I guess we should have went a little further in the discussion.
about
Yeah, but I mean, we
the
don't know
city
what's
spending.
happening
They
until.
are concerned that
and
we're
no
not good
tax.
stewards of their money.
Yeah. what do you have in mind when you say what do you
So,
get in
but I can't
return?
even find the full, I'm trying to
they
get a
want.
full accounting of every budget the city
They're not
has
saying,
done,
or they won't say?
and
or-
it's not posted to the
Yeah,
website,
I
don't
never
don't
know.
think
will.
she was going to, bet against herself. Type of just, I don't think she knows what the value is to.
Well, I'm sure she
No,
wants
I
to
asked
take
the
it to
mayor.
San Antonio City Council
Yeah.
anyway, so.
So, and that list with all the things that were missing on the ordinances, none of the budgets, had their, none of the ordinance passing a budget had the attachments, or most of
And
them
I
didn't
can
have the attachments.
prepare the petition
So, yeah,
for that.
so I sent it to him,
And they just need
and
to
it should be
give us
somewhere in the,
field notes,
in the OneDrive
description
that
of the total.
they have access to. So when I sent it to him, I think I copied you on the list so you saw. But I listed all of the budget work that were missing the attachment.
Unless
And then he sent it to both Delma and
doing
Catherine.
anything with San
So-
Antonio,
Did you ever get
San
it?
Antonio and-
I haven't gone back out to check and see if they've been posted again.
So
Yeah.
probably
But,
because we're right
um,
here, they just figure that knock
I
on
asked
our door
Catherine
rather than
for-
have to deal with
I
San
asked
Antonio.
Delma
No,
to
there's
send me
more
an
red
edited
tape
version
than
of the
deal with
animal
San
control
Antonio,
ordinance.
So,
She did not know how to do that.
Yeah.
So then I asked Catherine, I was like, don't you guys have Word versions? And she's like, oh yeah, we do. It's
Yeah.
like,
I
where
went
is
to
it?
that.
So
and all the services.
she
I mean,
said,
the services that come
so
along
she
with it.
sent it to me, and she said she went and
They're
showed
gonna have to provide all that.
Delma where to find it
You know, they get
in
a-
the city secretary email
An
account,
ILA with Bear County.
so that I could see the
that
version
provide,
that the city
police.
attorney, because the city attorney
Finally.
Come to us.
sends,
Yeah.
Then,
sends,
okay, you gonna go down there.
sends
and
the
you're gonna
Word
annex,
version,
so
the
you're
red
gonna have
line
to pay
version,
us
and
for
then the
it.
final
Expect us
version,
to provide
so that I could
services.
get the animal control ordinance
So
one.
it's,
So, but,
I think we're in a better
Yeah.
position to deal than they are.
so I'm sure it's somewhere in the OneDrive
I'm not
or in
A
the city
professional
secretary email
annexer.
account, but I don't know. But
The reason I stuck
it'd be nice
around
to go
was
back
about
over the
all
last
that
decade
property
and do a
that
full
gentleman
accounting,
was
but it's
speaking
still
about
not
with
gonna be a
all
full
the trash.
picture.
I was
I
hoping
tried
that we
going
could
back
get
looking
a,
for the owners through BCAD.
It's there.
I couldn't find
homepage
it.
where all
So,
citizens
the,
can
ad-
go see
the, ad-
those
yeah, it is.
documents.
So,
Why can't
the
there
problem
be
is that
city
the address, the physical
documents
number is not listed
instead
on
of her
BCAD.
having like all the
But
It's
pages
listed
under?
on
She
the,
has them in her
Because
inbox.
it's not a like, there's no
Or
home.
nothing.
No, they're on
Construction.
Quicken
Not
Books.
the- not
They're
So
on
if
the
you look at
network.
his
Yeah, not-
address,
not
the
the
guy that was sitting
budget.
there, and
There
then the
was
one
something
next to
else
it,
that you were
it's
looking
just
for,
listed as
and
Shady Forest.
they'll mass
Oh, the
advise
ordinances
you.
and
Which
stuff,
is,
yeah.
which is his
So-
name,
So-
yeah, so now I know,
So
they-
so I helped
they're
the
sent
city
out on the
to find
OneDrive.
out.
are they in the country?
But shouldn't,
They're in San, well,
you
they're in
don't
San
have
Antonio.
access to the
over there,
web.
yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, should
So,
we have
I told the
So why
chief,
don't we
well,
set
I'll
up
take
a
this
city
and go run with it, and
computer
I
in there
told
on
the
the
chief,
extra
I sent him a
desk
text, I was like, tell this guy,
for
that we
aldermen
found some
to go in
information,
and
Come
log
in
in
and
so we
and
can
be
go
able to
check
access
research.
the OneDrive.
or at least send him
Oh,
a
yeah.
citation or
Because it's
something.
health and
I hate having to
sanitation
send
issue.
Delma an email every time I need
It's
something
just
because
cite
she's
them right up
swamped.
front.
So,
And if
So
you don't
that's
give
what
us
I'm
that
saying.
I forgot to
when it
include
a
comes to
this.
centralized location
Say it again? I'm
where
hearing, sorry.
council members
We'll give him
can go.
30 days
but
to
do we
clean
have
it
a
up.
spare computer that we can set
He
up?
doesn't do it, the city
We should
cleans it up,
buy
and
one.
sends him a bill, and then
So,
we put a lien on the
The
property.
next
Which
time
in
we do a
fact,
tech
we
refresh
just
for
had
everybody's
so
computer.
I'm gonna take
put
your
one in
email
there.
and just kind of
On
My
that
restructure
desk.
CPA
it to
has
say,
me
we don't have any
buying
record of,
computers every 3 years.
whatever you call it,
So,
to say that
that
we have
makes
not
sense.
received a payment.
All right, well, I need to get Delma, I'm trying to help her with the meeting minutes.
Yeah, if they have any
So,
records.
there
then
is
bring
a
it to
section
us
in
and we'll
Robert's Rules
accept
of
it,
Order
but
that very clearly lays out what's supposed to be in a meeting minutes. Our meeting, this is
I
wrong,
doubt it was an
and the mayor doesn't.
So they've already been cited?
No, no, it's somebody else.
Completely
Oh,
wrong.
sorry,
Robert Rules
but
of Order
I
makes
just,
it very
you
clear
reminded
that
me,
you should
so.
never say old
let
business,
you
that's
go.
what everybody says. It's supposed to be unfinished. It's not
See
old,
ya.
it's unfinished.
Or maybe Priscilla.
See ya.
But
Good
it
night,
doesn't
ladies.
change it.
Good night.
So, but this also talks about, oh, it's not on this one.
Yeah, that was like.
There's a
last
lot
year,
that,
right?
in Tico, we still have, Lopez as police chief.
Yeah,
So
We still have
I
what?
never got
Lopez
any
as our police
I
chief.
think that's fine.
And,
We also still have the Planning and Zoning Commission out
and
there.
Charlotte Ray, the city
I
secretary.
feel like
The old stuff, you
The
know.
planning,
But
yeah.
I told her, you know, if you give me access, I'll go in there
Well,
and change stuff.
no,
and
you
Delma
as a mayor pro
probably
tem
would
should
ask
be
the
able to
question
tell
Yeah.
of
CJ,
what to do with
who is our
it. That was the
web
first time she did
admin,
it.
to go
So,
fix this stuff.
She's never available.
Send her an email and she will do it.
Are they trying to sell the the property, or they're trying to buy it?
Send her an email, copy the
I think
mayor.
so,
Okay.
yeah, somebody's
Say, go
trying to
fix
buy it.
this. Hey, Mayor, you wanna take a picture for your
No,
Yeah,
standing here?
so using old pictures?
I already got it up, man, it's not my problem anymore.
Hey,
It's not on the webpage.
You're a liar.
It's, no, cause I said, I told the ladies that it
Wait,
was
what
up on the
about?
webpage, and they went out on the webpage last night, or not last night, Tuesday night, and it wasn't there, they had
I
to go out
posted
to,
it. I
they had to
see.
go out to the email that you
oh
sent.
my God,
Bro,
what the?
what? Just like my son says, bro.
Bro, you're screwing up. Oh,